heart whose love is true. Deep down there's only one. There's so much pain that you've been through. Here stands a man who's your salvation. Just ask yourself, am I ready for you? 100% now. I'm ready. 100% now. Yes, I'm ready. Eyes wide open. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to 100% now. Take a chance in a new direction. Any place you wanna go. I don't have all the right answers, but one thing I know, I'm so ready for you. 100% now. I'm ready. 100%. You know I'm ready. Yes, I'm ready. Eyes wide open. I'm ready. I'm ready to move. Well, just longing for a glance from you. Yeah. A chance to look in those big brown eyes. No telling what my heart would do. Hey, when we met, I sure knew it felt as good as it could be. In that moment, though it felt so good, I wondered why you noticed me. If you gave me just a little time, it would sure ease my troubled mind. Don't tell me that you don't feel the same inside. Don't tell me who. These are feelings that I ought to hide. I don't care where you came from, just tell me where you wanna go. If there's a chance to be together, that's all I really need to know. Is it real or make believe that keeps me thinking of you? If you've got time to walk with me, I'll show you how my heart is true. And here I stand waiting for you. Tell me, baby, what I gotta do. Don't tell me that you don't feel the same inside. Don't tell me who. These are feelings that I ought to hide. Don't tell me that you don't feel the same inside. Don't tell me who. These are feelings that I ought to hide.
We're just here for one best of three and one best of three only. DreamLeague Division 2 Season 3's group stage comes to an end, and right now these two remaining teams have to fight for their lives. We already had to say goodbye to Team Silk, the lone South America representatives, and now either Virtus.pro or Inner Circle will join them in the 7th or 8th place. Not the spot you want to be, especially for teams like these two who are very much on the come up. We saw Virtus.pro manage to qualify for ESL 1 Birmingham Winter, but at least in this event so far, they've looked a bit shaky. Same kind of situation in Inner Circle, right? Coming up through some of these EPLs, smaller tier 2 events, they're starting to feel a bit more confident, but not quite there yet.
There's still a long way to go for teams here. I think Inner Circle against Virtus.pro, kind of like I think it's a pretty even matchup for both teams. Both teams have a lot of, I think, existing issues with their play. They kind of have to work on a lot of things, and this is do or die. This is their last chance. Today has to work for them, or else they have to just say goodbye.
Yeah, I guess in a slightly brighter note for people who are Virtus.pro fans, the previous time that these two teams met in the group stage, Virtus.pro were very easily able to 2-0 Inner Circle. So with that being said, Inner Circle were working with a stand-in. They actually have Jing on the position 4 instead of their regular position 4. But he's back again, so it might just sort of be a permanent change, at least for this event. They don't have Amorales, who's their usual pos 4. Maybe there's a Southeast Asia connection there between Say, Kim, and 423, some teams in the past. Of course, for those of you not so familiar with Inner Circle, it is, like I already said, 423 pos 1, Say in pos 5. Usually it'll be Amarellis pos 4, but this time around they have Jing, who's most notably on some of these Southeast Asia stacks like Kukuis. And then you have Laze, Laise, not Laze as in lazy, Laze in pos 3 and Niche in pos 2. So just some of these guys who've been around the block in the tier 2 scene. Definitely a lot of explosive potential there. They all give me that feeling that, they could become one of the stronger tier 1.5, tier 2 teams, maybe just needing a little bit more time. And of course, on the flip side, Virtus.pro, we know the names. It's the Bulba team minus Devi Lama plus Saberlight, right? It's all the old Shopify Rebellion folk.
And this is a team that kind of has a lot more expectations on them. You don't really expect them to be below in this group stage. Like at least fighting for survival. I kind of expected them to be maybe at least in the middle of the pack, at least top 3 at least. For them. But VP, unfortunately, they couldn't really string enough good results together during the group stages. Closely losing to One Win, closely losing to Avalos. Those are very, very important games that they definitely could have won. And overall has resulted them stuck, in the bottom of the table right now.
Yeah, I think the loss against Avalos especially stings because no flame to Avalos, of course. I think when they have their moments, they are a pretty solid team. But at least in the games that we watched, they didn't really look entirely convincing, right? But same can be said for Virtus.pro. Maybe in some of their other matches that we didn't get the chance to cast, they were pretty solid. But at least in the ones that we watched, we were not exactly impressed. It felt like at times that they were just beaten purely on coordination alone. I feel like sometimes when you go into a match, you feel like, oh, okay, maybe the opponents are just coordinating better than us. A lot of the Virtus.pro matches felt like they just weren't coordinating, period. And you'll see how the group stage all played out. Of course, first seed is 7-0 Aurora Gaming going undefeated. Kind of similar to Yandex in Season 1. It just kind of feels like you're not really sure whether this team should be here, but they are proving themselves. And of course, the sea of other teams, One Win, Nigma Galaxy, second and third. Of course, One Win beating them out in points. That's why they're a bit higher there. And yeah, down the line, you got Zero Tenacity, Avalos, Inner Circle, and Team Silk. I think Team Silk, still, if we talk about long way to go, I think Team Silk are there, right? There was a lot of, I want to say, almost immaturity in that team in more ways than one. And hopefully we'll see them back again in the next season of Division 2. But that's kind of how the group stage went. And because of how things have shaken out, we only have one tiebreaker, thank goodness. I feel like sometimes with the way that results end up happening, a lot of these teams too evenly matched, we get like tiebreakers for like 9-8 hours straight, which is, I think, can be very taxing for these teams. You want maybe a break day between your group stage and your playoffs to try and solidify things before you go forward.
No breaks for them right now. They have to play today, and they have to. If you win today, you have to play again, resume tomorrow as well. So you kind of have to just find a way. Like if there are serious problems, you just have to figure out how to put a band-aid on it, just a temporary solution.
Yeah.
I think with so little time, you can't really change a lot of fundamentals about the team. The best thing you can do is try to figure out something that could work short term just for the series and try to get over the series and figure things out afterwards. You have to win here and then figure out what to do later. All these long-term problems, they're not going to go away just magically because you did something in one series.
Yeah, in the previous series where Virtus.pro were able to defeat Inner Circle 2-0, it was very much a different look for Virtus.pro than we saw. And we have a draft for you, so we'll hop right into that very shortly. But the Virtus.pro that we watched yesterday, Winter, it was very much, let's build the draft around Abed, right? It's a very typical Balba Abed strategy. You first pick the Puck, you first pick the Storm, and then you figure out the draft from there. But that didn't really work out for them. In the previous match, though, between them and Inner Circle, they actually decided to pick the Abed hero later in the draft. So in one of the games, they 24 picked his Lesh. In the other one of the games, they actually 16 picked the Void. So a bit more room for Abed to actually have the positive matchup and potentially skill gap his opponents. I think that's what I want to see if I'm a Virtus.pro fan. But for Inner Circle, it does kind of feel like you need to catch Virtus.pro by surprise, right? They already defeated you the previous time. Clearly, your strategies weren't very strong at that point. Gotta try and switch things up a little bit.
At the same time, I feel like the strategy might not be as important, because the fundamentals is a bigger problem, I think, between the two teams here. Like whatever strategy you're going to employ, I think it's best probably to keep things simple and not focus on the strategy too much. Just make sure that the players can actually execute the game plan. I think the foundational problems are going to be there no matter what. You kind of have to find a way to minimize it, even if it's at the expense of going for a slightly worse strategy. These are things you have to, as the captain, you have to decide. Do I actually pick something that is good for the draft, or I pick something that is important or comfortable for my players to play, and then figure things out afterwards. So these are all the balancing acts that you have to consider during the draft. I mean, it's easy for us to just say, hey, why are they doing this? Why are they opening with this hero and then following up with another hero? It's easy to criticize. You don't really know what the hell is going on inside the team. Sometimes the teams are just picking heroes in this sort of manner because they don't have a choice.
Yeah. I think one of the most interesting parts about Inner Circle to me is the fact that they are being coached by Art Style at the moment. This is a individual with a lot of experience, right? He's been playing since the old days. He's been coaching for what feels like forever. He feels almost attached to Navi as an organization for what feels like the better part of 6 to 7 years at this point. And then now he's kind of finally looking outwards and maybe looking at these other stacks. I wonder what that kind of combination looks like, because you would think that maybe he would stick with a Ukrainian team. Yes, there are a few Ukrainian players here in Lies and Niche, but then you almost do a little bit of a Southeast Asia expansion. Southeast Asia plus Ukraine, not really a combo that we've seen very often.
Hey, Say and 423, they've been in Europe. They've been playing in Europe for quite some time already.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're considered just Southeast Asian players. I think they're more Europe. If anything, the way they play the game.
At this point, yeah, that's fair.
Not just about where they are from, but I think their playstyle is very similar to the European players at the moment, since they've already spent so much time playing on the European servers, which is good for them. I think that is probably the better place to learn and improve your skills on Dota. Enough said about SEA servers. Everybody knows how shitty our servers are. The games, the quality, the throwers, the buyers, the boosters, the sellers, everything.
The weekend Dota enjoyers, the office work. Oh my goodness, no.
Yeah,
that's rough.
I think the issue is because the pool of players is not wide enough. That's why you get so much of variance happening.
Yeah.
So it affects your quality of practice, right? You can get in your public matchmaking games.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they have a Viper opening here for Inner Circle, and VP is going to respond with a Wind Ranger. A very good hero, I would say, against Viper. Viper can't really hit you because of the wind run. You don't really care about the Viper strike in the team fights as much. Also because of wind run, because of focus fire. You don't care about the attack speed slow. Because Viper is all about the attack speed slow. It's pretty annoying in the team fights for the range heroes. But good news for you, Wind Ranger you don't really care about it. So I think this is a pretty good matchup overall. And if you don't like it, you can always put it on a support.
Yeah, we've seen a few directions with this Viper open, right? A lot of teams opting to 8-pick the Viper. Some opponents like to let the Viper in, and then they try and crush it in the mid lane if they're confident that's where it's going. Maybe something like a sniper on the 9, followed by a draft built up around it. The Wind Ranger speaks to me a bit like a Timado hero, because I have a good feeling that Hellscream will be the one playing this task.
Us Wind Ranger. It's a little combo. Tag team plus focus fire. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Hero's gonna die, I'll tell you that. But this is kind of, I guess, if you're picking the Wind Ranger as a lane matchup into the Viper, then you are somewhat assuming that this Viper might just go mid, is my read on this at the moment.
I mean, it's tough here. You won't be able to get the sniper here. If you think the sniper encounter, it's risky to pick it here at 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, you get it as the last pick, but the odds are you're probably not going to get past the last ban phase if Inner Circle is indeed going to want to put the Viper mid. So they have everything pretty open now. Dazzle and Tiny to follow up the Viper. I kind of like those heroes against Wind Ranger. The Grave from the Dazzle is very, very good against the Wind Ranger. Single target focus, and then you just Grave and you delay the kill. And Tiny is just Tiny, it's just useful hero. Just in case you need to put the Viper on the off lane, you have a melee position 4 to enable it.
Yeah. Low-key, the Tiny could save as well, right? If you're being focus fired down or shackled, you might be able to walk up as the Tiny and toss the Viper back to a location where the Dazzle can Grave him. So Nice counterplay. Overall, not sure whether this tells us that the Viper is mid or off lane. I think that option is still flexible. Interesting to note, Winter, that throughout all of Inner Circle's recent games, they have not actually picked up this Viper. They spent most of their time in this tournament and some of the prior tournaments like EPL. They don't pick the Viper and they instead opt to ban it out or let their opponents have it. And so far, it hasn't really worked out for them. They only managed to beat it once. That was Nigma Galaxy 4 days ago. And they had a Jakiro, they had a Tiny, and then they also had a Morphling. So that was how they dealt with that offlane Viper. We're already seeing some of the similar pieces here. The Tiny, maybe they value the reposition, but you're seeing a very strong team fight lineup come out for Virtus.pro. It's going to be very difficult for them to fight into the Arena Ice Blast.
Not to mention, you can't heal now on the Dazzle. It's a pretty good matchup. And the Dazzle is going to... you're going to have a hard time trying to have impact in the team fight. So Inner Circle, right now, what are you going to do here? Are you going to pick a carry? Nope, they pick an off laner. So it's Enigma plus Tiny lane against the Wind Ranger Tusk. Or Wind Ranger AA, most likely. So they're just trying to
pipe builder as well.
They're just trying to win the lane because you don't get power shot generally. But I've seen Gatoro when he plays carry Wind Ranger, he still goes for power shot. Like he's one of the weird ones where he does kill shot facet on carry Wind Ranger and he gets power shot so he can actually help his team. Maybe it could be good this game against Enigma in the lane matchup. I don't know if you want to maintain your normal facet, which is the entangle, and then max power shot, so you can deal with the creeps. I think either way, it definitely has potential here. You might want to think about it if you're running a Wind Ranger against Enigma. And whereas for the overdraft composition, I mean, firstly, they're going to ban some carry heroes, I presume. Ban carry heroes that are good against Wind Ranger. Feels like, I mean, they have AA, so Morphling is not going to be an issue. So you're looking at heroes like Ursa. They banned the TB, okay. I guess TB is kind of good. Any high armored hero is pretty good ban for Wind Ranger.
What is the what's the ideal carry to carry matchup for Wind Ranger? Like what would Inner Circle want to have if they had it their way?
I kind of like the melee heroes. Ursa, Cassie's ban.
Maybe like PL or DK.
DK is okay. I think DK is a lot better. High armored hero, as long as it's a high armored hero.
Okay.
If it wasn't for the AA, I would say Abaddon or Morphling, those are pretty good heroes. But because of AA, I think probably Ursa is the best one, and it works really well with Dazzle in the lane. Poison Touch and your Earth Shock, you can actually kick the Ursa. I kick the Mars out of the lane very, very easily. You can kill him in the lane. So I think I would definitely consider that.
I was actually thinking about potential TA here because we talk about the Mars matchup, right? TA Dazzle in the lane. Like, I don't know what you're going to do against that.
It's definitely good. Very good. Okay, they go for something entirely different. It's pretty good against the Tusk AA support though. They don't really clear the illusions quickly. And then you have Song into Black Hole setup. And this hero is actually kind of on the rise. I've seen especially Nightfall play the hero a bit. There's also a couple of other carries that actually play the Naga carry. Bring it back. And I think the main idea is just she's really strong at shuffling the waves. And in the Tormentor, in the Roshan fights, he's very, very useful. So BP, go for the Sven as sort of a answer towards the Naga Siren illusions. And Abed is actually taking the Wind Ranger mid. Okay. So he wants to just follow the Viper around.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? Because we were talking about how teams were answering the Viper first pick with that sniper. So basically, you stop him from going to the mid lane. If he goes to the mid lane, he's going to have a bad time. That feels like the sentiment here from Virtus.pro. But a Wind Ranger in the mid with the tangled facet, I wonder how that's going to work out. You would think that maybe it would be a kill shot angle just because you have the AA Ice Vortex to amp up your magic damage. Also, notice that Saberlight is going Victory Feast instead of the the Bloodsport, just because Dazzle, of course, with his stupid ass projection, can go in there and get vision anyway. So understandable. I guess the one concern that you do have on Virtus.pro is you have a lot of good team fight, high burst damage, but the one thing you don't have is BKB Black Hole Cancel. So at the end of the day, in the ultra late game, if Inner Circle are still able to rat it out all the way, they might have a chance of just hitting them with the Wombo combo and then they're toast, right?
What is Hellscream gonna do? Tag team or drinking buddies?
I think he's just switching because he's...
Initially, he was thinking drinking buddies, and then now he's like swapping around. I probably feel like I'll just go tag team here this game. It's more reliable.
I feel like you can't go wrong with tag team, right? You've never picked tag team in a game and you're like, damn, this sucks that I have tag team. At some points you might think, oh, the drinking buddy save would have been cool, but you never regret tag team, I think. It's one of those facets. It's just too good.
I think you need to have two heroes, Mike. If you want to go drinking buddies, like two heroes, you can use it.
Would you not say the Wind Ranger and the Sven are good enough, or is it too awkward?
Sven doesn't exactly need it. It's not that useful. I think a lot of the melee heroes are not really good with the drinking buddies. There's one. There's only one I think that's really good with drinking buddies. Primal Beast. Because he uses the most.
Okay, that's cheating. That's cheating.
What do you mean it's cheating? What the fuck?
He's like not exactly, because when you're saying a melee hero that uses, I'm thinking like some sort of like right-clicking core, you know, like that's the immediate thought that comes to my head. Yeah, that's a little bit of a off-the-wall pick there. Speaking of picking though, Virtus.pro and Inner Circle have locked in their selections for game number 1. Some pretty decent heroes on both sides. I like what I see, but is there any side that you prefer, Winter?
Oh, this is a tough one.
I think it's pretty evenly matched, right?
Yeah,
it's just whether Inner Circle can execute.
If I have to choose one, I'll probably choose the VP lineup. I actually like their lineup here. I like the Sven changing things up, you know. So here you have a way of dealing with the Enigma's laning phase, and you also have a way of dealing with the Naga Siren illusions, you know. So I think overall I like Virtus.pro's lineup a little bit, just a little bit, maybe 55-45 or maximum 60-40 for VP. Very little. There's a slight edge.
I will say I think Inner Circle's lineup looks a bit harder to make work, right? Because every time you have a Naga Siren as your pause 1, I don't really know what the timings are. It just kind of feels like you play map until your opponents get split and impatient and confused, and then that's where you take the fight. There isn't really an obvious Song combo. Maybe you can say Song into Black Hole, and that would be pretty hype. But to kind of put that together, it's going to be like every 3 minutes you have that potential combo, and that's if the timings are not disjointed. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen if the Viper doesn't end up having a good lane and Enigma doesn't crush his. I'm not sure who Inner Circle can actually play through.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. All 3 cores are very farm heavy. They are so reliant on the lanes going well. Enigma and Tiny, they have to win their lane. Viper kind of, okay, but I think the Viper is like, okay, if you draw the lane, whatever, you know, it's a difficult matchup. I think probably what we're going to see is Nether Toxin pushing out the wave, stacking, clearing cap. So Enigma and Tiny, this is the key lane right here in front of our screen.
Yeah.
Whatever happens here is going to determine a lot of the mid game.
I've seen so many Enigmas get off to a rolling start, get that early drums, maybe even Boots of Bearing, and steamroll the map, take over the jungle, force the carry out. It's a very real possibility, but for now it seems like the Sven pick, it's a decent answer to these Eidolons, right? You can throw the Storm Hammer in, allow for the Ancient Apparition to clear out some of them with the auto attacks. Have to see how it goes. What about this top lane though? The Naga Siren is a decent laner, but just doesn't really scream to me that they care so much about shutting down Saberlight. Just, they're okay with trading farm, almost, with this pick.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be shutting the off laner down when you're picking something like Naga. It's just about securing your own farm, jungling, and giving your support a lot of experience. I think because usually as Naga, you push out the wave, and then you can pull on the support, and you can get levels, you know. And meanwhile, Hellscream is already pulling some of the wave. He's going to deny some of the creeps on the top side. So this is going to be really good for Saberlight. And in the mid lane, it's just going to be, I feel like a wash here. I don't think Abed is going to be able to pressure the Viper too much, with the Viper just getting Nethertoxing.
Playing against this new Wind Ranger with the Tangled Facet feels like you're up against a TA, right? You need to be so wary of those shackle shot angles. The last thing you want to do is get all caught up. Should just be pretty even though. Can you talk to me a bit about this Naga pick? Because you were mentioning you saw Nightfall pick it up quite a bit. What is the point of this pick? What is it supposed to do for you? Because to me, in this current meta of needing to get an early Roche into the Tormentor, I don't quite see how Naga fits in. It feels so much slower than the current pace of the game.
Well, I do think that she's the only illusion hero that's strong enough right now. I think she's a bit stronger than TV. You can push out the waves. Directly, you don't really fight well, but indirectly, you're shuffling out waves, which is pretty important. Like, you see heroes like on the support side, Chen being really useful, the ghost pushing heroes. I think this is one of the cores that can actually do that really, really well.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't fight early, but because you're always constantly delaying the game by shuffling the waves out, I think it creates a dynamic where it allows you to get to the stage where some of your heroes might need more time, especially the supports. I think when you have Naga, it's okay to draft greedier supports because she can delay the game for your supports to come online. I mean, I think other than that, she's not exactly a hero that I feel like is going to benefit you straight up in the early game. She's just going to be mostly farming and pushing out waves. And when it comes to late game, she gives you the flexibility of setting up team fights.
Sure. When I first saw this Naga pick come out, other than it being a 4-2-3 comfort, because I know he loves microing illusions, Brute Mother, Broodling, like, and everything, I just immediately thought... he's got... That man is on a fast-track journey to early onset arthritis, I'll tell you that much. But apart from that, and jokes aside, obviously, it kind of feels to me that they just want some sort of carry that can influence the team fight. Hang on, bit of a dive here in the bot lane. Tomato trying to clear out the Eidolons that are beating into Fly. With that Warcry, a lot of armor granted to the otherwise very frail AA, and they'll be able to ward off that bit of aggression. But yeah, back to the point I was saying, it almost feels like they wanted a carry that they felt like could influence the big team fight that VP were going to throw at them, right? Because you think about Arena, Spear, the Stormhammer coming in and all this initiation. If you have a Naga song and you can sort of back up, reset, get a better position, maybe that helps you win the team fight. I still don't know. I don't know whether it gives you enough damage. Speaking of damage though, tag team up onto Lies. He's in trouble. Nice burst heal from Sei. Toss over, dodged out by the snowball. Really nice pickup from Hellscream. First blood still not going to be drawn as Fly. Auto attack down by the Eidolons who managed to split and put out even more damage.
That's the power of the Dazzle right there. The weave, giving the enemy an extra bit of armor, just allowing Lace to survive there. Very, very crucial. And VP definitely beaten off more than can chew there. Didn't expect the Dazzle to have such a huge influence in that exchange. Well played to say that in that fight.
Yeah. Level 1 Shadow Wave doesn't sound like the most impressive thing in the world, but you do have that Nothel boon. So when you're healing, you get that overheal shield. And it amplifies the positive impact of weave stacks on Lai. So you're talking about the additional armor. He has that in spades. He's got the backup of the Dazzle. Now he has his Helm of Iron Will, giving him that health regen, fast-tracking his way towards the Helm Dom. So that is the build of choice. Just kind of further playing into the concept that the Virtus.pro supports can't really deal with his creeps. Tag team, focus fire. This is nasty, and Jing does not stand a chance of surviving that. But that's going to cost Abed the AD rune in the top lane. Viper should be able to snag that one up.
Yeah, not too bad. Exchange for Inner Circle. And if you can die and your Cortex rune is actually decent in the early game. Do not be afraid to feed in the early game for runes.
Abed's still very going the yeah, you gotta cover your own backside by
I'm not telling you to feed, but I'm just saying, it's okay to fight for the rune and die for the rune.
Sure. I was just gonna say, I noticed that Abed had quick buyed up the Maelstrom. I guess it's not going to be much of a deviation from the regular carry Wind Ranger build anyway.
There's actually nothing much you can do, on this hero mid. You're gonna farm. Yeah. I don't think you're gonna try to build The old build was trying to get like Gleipnir.
Yeah,
When
that's when
you had,
Gleipnir still was actually built
when you had Maelstrom in the Gleipnir.
Yeah.
Now
Oh, I
you
miss
don't,
old Gleipnir. That item was hype as hell, man. That was a
now
good
you
ass
don't
item.
really have any new tech, on Mid Ranger on mid.
Pub Wind Rangers really love to build like stuff like Diffusal or maybe even Orchid, just for the solo pick-off potential.
Yeah, maybe some games, not this game. This game it doesn't really have a lot of value. I think you definitely need something to accelerate your farm. So Maelstrom is like probably the best item for this hero.
I wonder what core Virtus.pro are going to try and play through. Maybe try and look towards top lane where Saberlight is. Timado getting tossed back. Now stunned up under the tower, looking to get run down.
Oh,
Last bits of poison touch damage. A with the deny. Fly. Nice little touch at the end there. Stops that move from succeeding, and meanwhile, Hellscream rotated over to mid to punish the Viper. That's one of the downsides of this Viper pick. Very gankable by a hero like Tusk.
Yeah, good plays by VP. Denying the kill and getting the mid in the jungle. So they are definitely really, really happy with this exchange now. Timano's going to TP back down. He's going to try to defend the tower. Inner Circle, they're desperate to get an exchange. Get something, out of the shitty situation they have right now. They just traded their Viper for nothing, but they can't even get the tower. That's pulling the wave back. Not really going to overcommit because there might be a Mars TPing in.
Yeah, but at some point, I think in the top lane, he might have used Arena just to try and pressure 4-2-3 because he has it on cooldown. I'm not sure when this actually happened. We just had it off camera, I guess. But nothing to come from it. Overall, all the cores doing pretty well. Saberlight and Timado lagging a bit behind because of the respective pressure on the safe lanes. But I think you already mentioned from the start, the whole plan for Inner Circle is to crush these lanes, right? So far, the Enigma, he's got a good timing on his Helm Dom. He got decent space, top of the net worth by a little bit. Still able to chip away at this tower slowly but surely.
And they're not actually snowballing the game enough though. I think BP is very happy with the current situation. 9 minutes in, all their cores are even. Because if it's even, I think it's very, very good for VP. Inner Circle needs to have some sort of lead out of the laning phase. I mean, you have Helm on Enigma, you need to take control of the game.
Oh, look at the EXP on Fly. Nice dodge of the Ice Blast. Jing still gonna get that Cold Feet procced on him? No. Manages to slide away. Enough move speed even with that Blood Grenade on him. Turn around with the Avalanche. Now Fly surrounded. All these creeps in the area. Lays just going to auto attack down Fly. No hope for this AA. So again, you trade the life of your support for another. But at the same time, you get the tower. So I think Inner Circle, that's kind of more what they were hoping for.
Yeah, Abed is not using his ultimate yet. He's not really focus firing the tower. And Saberlight is coming in from the side, but it's a little bit awkward here. They see him. Okay, this is weird.
Yeah, that's a bit strange. Lays was trying to get through with the ultimate, but doesn't manage to get in time. And Say got a focus fire started on him just now. Hellscream missed the shots, which made the kill impossible. And Say still able to save himself with a big shadow wave into that stick as well. So overall, I think that could have been 2 clean kills for VP. They fumble the bag a little bit on the initiation, and because of that, they don't get the dazzle. But still not too bad, I guess. Arena used, Saberlight accomplished his mission, so now he's going to go back to top lane and farm. Like you said, maybe Inner Circle not snowballing quite as hard as they need to just yet.
And they need to get the mid tower after this. When the Enigma wants to push the bot wave out, farm the jungle a little bit, like all the camps near to the mid lane, and then slowly make his way towards the mid tier 1. You got a Helm, you have to take control of the map, you have to seize control of the game. If you don't do that, the moment the Mars gets dagger, the game is going to turn on your head.
I wonder if it's that bad though, because Inner Circle, you talked about 3 of their cores being very greedy. If you have a free game to farm on Viper, Naga, Enigma, sounds like you'll be pretty happy, right? You compare that to Virtus.pro. Yes, they have 2 carries in the Wind Ranger and the Sven, but then your Mars, he's low-key just kind of like teamfight setup, right? You don't really think of that as a hero that scales in terms of his own damage. Song setup in the top lane. Mars in trouble. Arena just comes off cooldown, but he has no hope of saving himself. Nice setup there from 4-2-3 and Say. That's the first use of the Boots of Travels.
Yeah, that's a pretty big kill on the inner circle side. That is probably the best hero to kill, you know. If I were to choose one of the cores on the VP side to kill, right now it's definitely going to be the Mars. Like, his dagger is so important. The game will flow through him.
Currently
Not
bottom
sure
net
why
worth of the cores now.
why he was like trying to farm so far up, you know. I mean, that is like a mistake that usually you don't expect to happen for these players at this caliber. Like, you don't see anyone on the map. Like, why are you even in the middle of the lane? You know, you're supposed to just use your nukes and clear the creep waves and back off. You know.
It's a bit strange, yeah. And I think it would make a bit more sense in a situation where sometimes your Mars hits level 6 and then you flush the other carry out of the lane, right? He can't come in because there's the threat of the kill. But realistically speaking, I don't think Saberlight can actually kill 4-2-3 by himself. He needs at least a +1 or 2. Perhaps an Ice Blast to assist him. I'm not too sure. But yeah, Inner Circle getting what they want here, mopping up a lot of this map. Still farming up a Storm. The Enigma's looking towards his Blink. Your Viper's looking towards the Crimson. They're gonna hit a pretty nasty timing near this 14 to 18 minute mark. Big hunting party though. Abed trying to make action happen, and the Naga will dodge them expertly. Good awareness there from 4-2-3.
I mean, they definitely should follow him around. Okay, no, they're not gonna try. And it seemed like yesterday's game, you know, I feel VP is really conservative with their movements. They don't really try to take too many risks in the game, which I don't really like it, honestly. I like teams that are more willing to risk certain... I'm not like asking you to like run into the enemy jungle or anything like that, but when it's even game, like right now it's an even game, you kind of need to maybe try something to break the game apart, right? And usually they are the team that's happy to sit on the status quo. They're not exactly trying to, you know, set the pace of the game. They're gonna move through the gate right now, a little bit late on Saberlight and Hellscream. I don't think they'll be able to catch anything here because the timing is already a little bit off. Inner Circle has already left the vicinity.
Kind of feels like 4-2-3 is maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes ahead of them in terms of movement, right? If they just sort of made these plays 30 seconds before, a bit quicker on the clock, they would have found themselves a Naga, but instead she continues to dodge them all throughout the map, keeping her farm up. Top of the net worth there. It's tight competition between Timado and Naga Siren. But the Naga Siren now with the Manta looking towards the Orchid. So pretty standard Naga Siren build up here. Looking to be able to contribute in some of these engagements, maybe find a pickoff or two. I feel like this game is not going as fast for VP as they'd want though. Not like they're in any bad position or anything, but I agree with what you're saying, Winter. I feel like you got Blink Mars, you know, go use an arena, get a kill on a core or something. It just feels like they don't really have a good place to strike. Here's a song set up. Abed's in trouble. Hellscream's in the trees ready for a snowball save. He'll come up and get it done. Roll into some illusions though. Ice Blast to back them up. They don't have an angle out. It'll be Hellscream to perhaps give up his own life as Abed is able to escape. Heard a black hole. Who have they found? It's Abed. Lays was waiting right for him above that cliff. Good set of kills there.
Why are they not involving the Mars in this sort of moves, you know? Like, why is Saberlight like alone somewhere? He's gonna get a dazzle here, but this is not gonna be worth it.
I mean, is he gonna get a dazzle here?
Yeah, most likely.
Okay. The grave level is too low. I was wondering if he would.
I mean, it's so strange. I mean, they have a stun on the Sven anyway. There's no way he's gonna escape. But it's really strange that they're not really together with this trio. And now mid lane Niche is gonna get a Viper strike off. He's gonna be trapped in the arena. Spear back.
Yeah, this is the Saberlight connection that you are asking for. Timado's coming through, cuts up the Viper. That's more like it. Now, Fly will still tick out to the magic damage, though. He ended up putting an Ice Vortex out, as our observer points out, and gets corrosive skin down to death. But because of that, they can now head into the Roach Pit. A very early timing. Jinx is going to throw some rocks at their head. Is there anything Inner Circle can actually do? You don't have Black Hole, you don't have Song, and that's one of the limitations of this dire lineup. Very long cooldowns, and before your tiniest blink, not much you can do without them. I'll say they'll just get themselves a free Aegis.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Your song has fallen to the Radiant.
This is what you expect from the Mars, you know. When you have Mars, you are supposed to be able to get like very key kills early. And then you can get maybe something like a Roshan if you have the lineup for it, you know. This is what I wanted to see from BP, say like 2-3 minutes ago. I mean, the Mars had dagger, I don't know, like 14, 15 minutes, and it took them 3 minutes to kind of get something as big as that, you know.
Yeah. You're hoping for a bit more here, but maybe a part of it as well is Inner Circle's ability to ghost push the map. You already talked about the Enigma Eidolons and Creeps, the Naga Illusions, but not to mention this Viper, he always has that Boots of Travel, so he's never really playing up front. He's just farming, waiting to join. It's kind of hard to get your hands on these cores.
Yeah, mid lane Fly is gonna die. But I also wanted to point out the vision, you know, on the Inner Circle side. Fly is just gonna die to illusions. But because you have this Naga, this is what you can get to do. Because you have the map, all the waves are shoved in. You look at the Dire Observer wards. They have such a nice connection, such a nice network of wards, seeing everything in the mid section and the top section. And this is going to allow them to maybe take control of this area, even though the Sven has an Aegis here.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff how the AA just died. The only thing that would have saved him is maybe a snowball. The Orchid pickup coming absurdly early for this Naga Siren.
Yeah, he needs a Ghost Scepter to survive the illusions.
Yeah. And a Ghost Scepter doesn't really feel that good either because there's a lot of magic damage coming out from the Viper Enigma.
I know what's gonna feel good. Get a Dagon.
To kill one illusion before the other 4 kill you, right? At least you get a little bit of revenge. I see you. I don't know, I just think this is a really tough AA game. It almost feels like one of those games where you just want to hide behind like one jungle camp and stay there until your Ice Blasts are needed. Inner Circle now ramping up the pressure. This is what we wanted to see from their lineup, and I completely agree. The network of vision that they have set up, that Virtus.pro haven't been able to clear. You think about how risky this is, right? If Fly tries to walk into the jungle and clear vision by himself, he's gonna get caught by this Naga Siren. He's gonna get caught by this Tiny with his blink and just about 100 gold. A pretty slow blink, all things considered, for Jing. He's not really had a good time this game.
Yeah, a lot of deaths. He's gonna have it in 30 seconds. Not the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, his team is.
I think he would have had it if he didn't go for the Arcane Boots, which is what the Tusk did. The Tusk
Arcane,
didn't...
I mean, Arcanes is fine on Tiny. You have to go Arcanes or Soaring.
Yeah.
Either one.
Okay.
I personally like Arcanes more. Soaring gives you more mana, I think, as the cooldown is shorter, but Arcane Boost is better for your teammates, you know, so you're getting Arcane your cores.
Big TP's up in the top lane, almost like they expect something to happen to niche out here on the front lines. Perhaps just a smoke to establish a position for the 20-minute Tormentor.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very important. Pipe done on the Enigma. He is very, very strong.
Yeah, big timings here. Even a Reaver picked up for 4-2-3. He's absurdly tanky. The Sven actually decides to TP to the bot lane. The second they see Tomato, they'll know Virtus.pro have no interest in contesting in this area. Typically, when a team takes the Aegis, you'd expect them to also be able to get themselves the Tormentor, but Virtus.pro continuing to give Inner Circle so many segments of the map, and now you have a Tormentor shard for Sei. His Naughter projection is going to come out regardless of if he's stunned or shackled, and that's going to be a big problem. You can't stop that save, which means even more pressure on Fly to land that Ice Blast.
Again, you know, I'm just dumbfounded. Like, how are they just giving up everything? I mean, they just want to wait for the BKB on the Mars. They're always like waiting, you know. I don't even think they need to wait for their triple BKB timing to fight. They're actually not that weak, you know. You have Aegis just send a Sven in, you land a big arena. I mean, Enigma doesn't have BKB, so you don't really have to worry about the black hole. There's so many stuns to cancel it. I don't know. I just think that just giving up everything here and there is just not the way I would want to play my Dota.
Yeah. Big catch onto Mr. Arbit. Getting hexed up now. Still pretty quick, but not the healthiest. Saberlight gonna try for a setup. They go towards the back line, onto this Dazzle, eliminate him immediately. The Grave couldn't even come out in time. Heart of God Strength looks like they found niche as well. And this is what you were talking about. They're not even that weak. They even cut short the song just for the black hole onto Saber. That's the BKB reveal, not the one you want. And Timado will be tossed back in as well. All 3 cores very quickly dealt with. Still a quick BKB blink away from Timado gets him out. The Nightfall. They might not be playing against Aurora, but you still see shades of him everywhere. Hellscream. Good try on the shots. Unfortunately, the coverage isn't enough. And Inner Circle trample all over Virtus.pro in their own jungle.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty bad way to start the fight. I felt like they overcommitted to kill the Dazzle there. They used the spear, they used the snowball, everything onto the Dazzle. I think one stun would have been enough from either of them, and the Sven was right-clicking them, the Dazzle. But because they used everything on him, the Enigma just walks in front with no BKB and just gets a pretty decent backhold on just one hero. But it was more than enough for them to win that team fight, you know. Just again, you know, VP just coming up short in terms of the execution in the team fights. They have to kind of split their resources between dealing with the Dazzle, dealing with the other core heroes. They can't really afford to throw too many spells on one unit.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I feel like this is another classic case that we've seen quite a lot now, not just in DreamLeague Division 2, but across the different events happening in the past few weeks. People first pick the Viper, their opponents get a counter pick, whether it's like the Sniper or the Wind Ranger, and you know, cool, the Viper doesn't get to crush the lane. Oh, this could be a big pick off. Lace will get caught here. Nice little bit of gold there for Fly to claim. And the creep as well. More gold for the coffers. But yeah, the point I was making is, you now look at the Viper and his net worth and how he's 2k gold ahead of the Wind Ranger. Was it really an effective counter in that sense? Like, now you have a mid Wind Ranger with like the most awkward timings ever to play around.
Dire's bottom
BKB Maelstrom doesn't really feel very compelling for these fights.
Nope, it does not. And this is why you don't really see much Wind Ranger mid, you know. You put Wind Ranger mid, it's just like you have another carry. You don't really have a lot of impact in the early game on this hero in terms of rotations. Maybe you could make the argument if you went for the kill shot facet and you try to max power shot, that would actually mean that you could be more useful in the early game. But yeah, but either way, it's not exactly a hero that you see a lot in mid lane because of this reason. It's very greedy.
Yeah, exactly. And even a hero like Viper, he can just kind of get action rolling every time he has that Viper strike. We saw Abed try to have that same effect along with the Tusk, right? The tag team focus fire, that's a lethal combo, but all they really found was some supports. It just feels like not enough impact from Virtus.pro, and Inner Circle, they might be a little bit slower and a little bit greedier in terms of the draft, but now they have a 6k gold lead. Now they're looking at a free Mars pickoff in the mid lane. Ice Blast is going to come through far too late, and the pipe will keep them safe against that little shred of damage. They can keep this pressure up.
I mean, Inner Circle are just playing the map way better than VP, and VP is just too... I feel like they're just too defensive, you know. They're a very defensive team. Like, oftentimes you see... I don't know if you remember all the games we've watched them so far. They're always like this 8-10 score line. They're like 1-2 kills behind, or even like 13-13, 12-12. But they are always like 5k behind, 6k behind, 7k behind. Because they're not really playing the map dangerously to try to make moves or take aggressive farm. You know, they're very content with just sitting behind their own areas and farming. They're too safe of a team, in my opinion. That's why they're always in this sort of situation where the kills doesn't really reflect the story of the game. They are 1 kill behind, even score, or 1 or 2 kills ahead, but they're always behind in net worth.
I think it's also just like the mental aspect of it, right? Watching this as a third party, of course, we can't really assume to know what these players are thinking. Maybe Virtus.pro believe that they have the better late game scaling, but the way that it reflects, just from us observing, it just looks like VP are cowering behind their little outposts of vision, the small limited amounts that they have, while Inner Circle have the entire map to roam and farm and get these pickoffs. And one of these teams has an Enigma Naga, and that's the team that's outpacing you in terms of activity. I don't think that's supposed to happen. I feel like you got Arena, you got Mars, you got Tusk. It should be every minute you're finding a kill, every minute you're finding a team fight. And that should be something that Inner Circle are struggling with, because they're splitting the map, right? They, in theory, should not be able to bring the numbers. A smoke move might just get broken here by Jing. Great positioning on the high ground. Spear's gonna miss, and he's able to blink away. Southeast Asia ping, not a problem. They clear out an observer ward, but that's all they'll find for their time.
It's very, very difficult right now for Virtus.pro. They have to actually kind of, I think, just take risks, because the Naga illusions are going to shuffle the lane, and the game is just going to get to a point where you won't be able to deal with all the lanes. So you have to just take risks. You have to try to just walk past the lines on the game, like enter enemy territory and just try to, create a opportunity for Mars to get a kill with the AA. I think they have a lot of damage with their heroes. The Mars are in the Mars arena, but they just need to find a move. They're just not really doing anything. They're just sitting across the map, pushing out waves, and every time it's happening, Inner Circle are the ones on the prowl with the smoke, and they find a pick off. So they cannot really just let the game flow in this sort of state. They need to be the ones that take matters into their own hands. If they keep waiting, they are going to lose the game.
So what do they need to do now? Is it just a smoke? Because they tried to do
just
that, right?
roll.
5-man smoke up.
3 or 4 heroes smoke. They probably shouldn't smoke with 5 heroes. The AA doesn't have to be in the smoke.
I mean, where should they go? You think into the jungle where there are wards
Anywhere.
and sentries littered everywhere?
It's just anywhere. Go anywhere. Pick a side and go.
Okay.
Either they control top or they control bot. Now Roshan is on top, so they should be trying to control the top section. But they're just always sitting back. Look at how defensive they are. They're just posturing in their own areas. They're not really entering the other side of the map. So if you're playing like this, you'll never be able to find any moves. You're basically just sitting and waiting. And if your opponent doesn't give you any, if your opponent doesn't give you anything, they're just farming the whole map because the map is just bigger. I mean, I would say that VP, they only have 1/3 of the map to farm right now. The Naga is controlling everything with the travels on Viper, so they're farming majority of the map.
I guess the one upside that you have is that Timado, what was that? God Strength pop. You think that was intentional? Or they thought they saw someone? Or what was the deal?
Radiant's middle tower is under
I don't
attack.
think it was intentional.
Yeah, where's he going? These ancient creeps are really going to
I mean,
get it.
yes, MKB, they want to fight. I'm pretty sure the Sven wants to fight, Like, they're not really finding any moves because they're just, I don't know, they're just not really committing, It's not like they don't have a smoke, they have a smoke.
I mean,
Yeah,
to be fair to them, they are getting ghost pushed pretty hard, right? The Naga Siren Illusions, the Enigma has been sending a constant stream of creeps in the
you
bot.
don't try. It doesn't mean you don't try anything.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like maybe they're like so busy dealing with waves, but I genuinely, I'm on your side here, Winter. I don't really know what they're waiting for. The MKB on the Sven feels like you're already at a tipping point where you should be able to cut through this Naga.
The longer you wait, it's just gonna get even harder against Enigma and Naga. There's no way that the game is gonna get easier for you. You have a Viper that can always Viper strike the Sven in the team fights. There is nothing the Sven can do about it. I mean, he's just gonna get outskilled. Like they're farming and waiting for what? It's like for waiting for their own expiration date. The longer they wait, the game is just going to get worse and worse, and it's going to get to a point where the Sven cannot do anything. There's Desert Grave, there's Black Hole, there's Naga, there's Viper Strike. Like, who's going to carry the game on the VP side,
And maybe the Wind Ranger. Maybe that's what they're hoping for. Mr. Abed, all the eggs in the Abed basket again, now looking towards Manta. Just really hasn't been the most inspiring Wind Ranger performance. Here's the fight you were waiting for. Jing on the low ground, Saberlight getting the initiation. The Tiny, he's on the other side of the arena. They should be able to eliminate him, but the song for the reset lays. He's waiting for his chance for the Black Hole, thinking about it. In he goes. BKB, Black Hole, nothing they can do to save that Sven. And Saberlight, his A on this is going to try for the Nightfall out. Will be successful on both Abed and Saberlight, but that was so easy for Inner Circle, and all they had to sacrifice was Jing. Now they can walk into the Roach, get that objective again. How the hell on VP are you getting outpaced by a Naga Enigma?
By not doing anything, Mike. By just sitting back, relaxing, treating it like a Sunday night. I mean, it is a Sunday night, but not in Dota.
I mean, people were talking about maybe VP are back when they qualify for ESL 1 Birmingham, but if you look closely at what the actual situation was, they defeated 2 teams, right? It was Pipsqueak 2-0, Liquid in a hard-fought 2-1. And some might argue that maybe Virtus.pro had the advantage versus Liquid because obviously Saberlight is formerly from that team. Let's have another pick off of the Jing though. I kind of just feel like these things, like that we just saw on our screen, need to happen 5 times as often for VP. I don't really know what's stopping them from doing this because it's not even like Inner Circle are holding hands and playing safe. They are literally 5 heroes split up all across the map individually for the most part. On the bright side, even though they do lose the Roshan, they at least get themselves a Tormentor, so at least that's something.
Yeah, it took them 30 minutes to realize they have to try and do something in the game.
Well, better late than never. But maybe a bit too late at this point. Shiva's got Aghanims, Aegis, Crimson complete for this Viper. I don't know how you're going to kill him with that physical damage. Just have to try though.
If they get a good spear back,
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I think the Viper can still die. Like,
Yeah.
They need to reposition him with the Mars. This is why Mars is such a valuable hero. You can be 5k behind, 10k behind, but a good spear, you block the enemy team with the arena, you're going to kill whoever you're going on.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate in that earlier engagement, the target that he picked was Jing, right? I think he didn't expect maybe the rest of the team to be behind. It was a good arena to block everyone else off, but that just allowed 4-2-3 to Song from safety. It was set up. Saberlight being slowed down. Aeon disc proc. Ooh, that's not... that's 2 minutes without your aim disc. That's tough.
He's also building Wingmaker. I don't know if I like it that much. Yeah.
That could be a good
Right.
save into the black hole.
I mean, I'd rather have a refresher, to be honest. I think they need more team fight to win the team fight. So if you get a Windmaker off to save whoever is in the black hole, most likely the Sven, are you going to be able to win the team fight like this? Or you're just delaying the inevitable, you know? The Sven with his BKB getting run down with the black hole, the Windmaker. And once the BKB runs out, he's going to die to the other heroes, you know? So I don't know. This doesn't look like a very good plan for me on the mouse.
Yeah, to be honest though...
I think he just needs to get refresher, double arena, and try to be aggressive and win the team fight on his own hands.
Radiant structures are fortified.
I can kind of see what you mean, although I'm not sure how much of a team fight Virtus.pro want to take at the moment, given that their high ground is being sieged and none of them are responding. Just Niche in his Nether Toxin. Maybe you look for a reposition play, but the Mars is nowhere to be seen. Are they just giving this one up? I guess so. I mean, none of the VP heroes are actually TPing back.
Radiant's bottom
Okay. I guess that's just going to be a lane of Rags then. They're trying to split the map and play 2 lanes, but Inner Circle can now all just TP back, shove those waves out, and keep the push going on another lane, maybe into mid. I guess the decision is just they desperately do not want to fight into the Aegis. They don't think they stand a chance if it's the Aegis in play, so... I can kind of understand that. The Viper is always going to be the only one presenting in front with his second life. Even if you were to position him, you might take a bit too much damage. That opens up the possibility for song counter initiation. I didn't really see the vision with the Inner Circle lineup after the draft, but now that I'm seeing it in action... I can get why they drafted this set of heroes. Although I also don't know whether they would get these opportunities if Virtus.pro's heroes were not twiddling their thumbs for like 20 minutes straight. There's the reposition. Niche gonna get caught first, but Jing immediately there with the counter initiation. Aeon disc procced already. Niche is gonna nosedive right into Saberlight. You wanna fight? I got you. Saber's in big trouble. Meanwhile, Virtus.pro, they're still trying to find some sort of a wraparound. Here comes the Sven looking for Niche. Looks like Niche will go down while Hellscream is trying to chase onto Say on the backline. It's looking messy. They could try and burst him down again. Buyback there from Saberlight. Here comes 4-2-3 with the Song, but the Viper is already done. Tomato in with his BKB, but nothing again to stop the black hole. Lays, he had his eyes on the target, and he strikes them down. Saberlight will die back, and the whole time Arbit nowhere to be seen. I think he was running along in the backlines with Hellscream, but yeah, okay, Hellscream, good job. Nice task impact. You've just kept the Dazzle out of the fight the whole time, and now you're dead.
And what on earth is this coordination from VP?
has fallen.
There's no way. This is GG. I mean, I think they're just done. Just mentally out of the game, mentally checked out. mean, they're all.
I mean, Saberlight was still trying to make those plays there.
Bro,
But
they all in the Viper, and you don't see where's the Enigma. Are you just expecting him to not dagger BKB Black Hole or what? You know, like that's just like it doesn't make any sense. You know, if they're going on the Viper like this, the Tusk and the Wind Ranger, they have to come back and look for the Enigma. Why are they trying to kill the Dazzle?
yeah, what
Like,
was the backup plan?
It just makes no sense. You know, if they're killing the Viper and the Naga in front, then they just need to disable the dagger BKB Black Hole. That's it.
Yeah,
Then
I mean, if
plans will have
Abed
worked.
even just runs it down and just looks for the Enigma and starts focus firing him, right? Even if he BKB black holes you, at least you keep him out of your Sven. Now Abed, speaking of the focus fire, will now try to commit onto 4-2-3. There's still a Dazzle keeping him safe. Buybacks coming out on all sides. VP doing their best to try and defend against this onslaught, but they'll lose Abed. He has a buyback, but at this point, it looks like it's going to be GG. Unfortunately, game number 1, Virtus.pro, they draft a pretty convincing lineup, but honestly, scratching my head a bit at what exactly they were planning to do. Were they hoping to outscale? Were they hoping to out-teamfight? Were they hoping to make things so messy that Inner Circle would get confused? It seems like the only people confused are them right now, as they lose game 1.
I didn't even feel they played the game. You know, they just sat back and just, I don't know, autopilot. How
Yeah.
can you actually trade farm against Enigma and Naga and with a Viper? Your carry is not going to be able to do anything. It's Dazzle, Enigma, and Viper. I think the start of the game was actually fine for them. They just needed to be aggressive and seize control of the match. Sure, even at the point where they lost to Roshan, I still felt like they could have fought at the Tormentor. They were only like, what, I don't know, like 2k behind, but their heroes were way stronger in the early game. And then they waited because the Mars was like, I don't know, 300 gold away from his BKB. Then they waited. And then they waited for that, and then they took a fight when they had BKB, but the enemy has already like a larger advantage, right? And then the execution wasn't there, you know. I think a lot of the movements in the game, they don't need to wait for their timings on the Mars. They just need to move when they have Arena. Like even in the early game, I felt like he wasn't really used very well in the early stages. Like usually Mars Arena in the early, even you have no dagger, you can smoke with the supports, or at least you can TP to the other lanes to gank, you know. I felt like maybe he did it one time, he moved to the safe lane one time, that was it, you know. They didn't really try to, I feel like, play a little bit more aggressive with their heroes. They have to line up to play aggressive, and it seems like they lack the urgency. They don't understand that the longer you wait in this game, you're not going to win with your lineup against what the enemy has. It's by no means like an outdraft. They have very different timings compared to their opponents, and they just need to use them, and they failed to see that, and they just lost the game because they didn't do anything in the game.
Yeah, it's weird. No one knows what exactly they were waiting for, but we'll be going to a short break and waiting for game number 2 after that.
I've been waiting a long time, just longing for a glance from you. Yeah, a chance to look in those big brown eyes. No telling what my heart would do. Hey, when we met, I sure knew it felt as good as it could be. In that moment, though it felt so good, I wondered why you noticed me. If you gave me just a little time, it would sure ease my troubled mind. Don't tell me that you don't feel the same inside. Don't tell me. These are feelings that I ought to hide. I don't care where you came from, just tell me where you wanna go. If there's a chance to be together, that's all I really need to know. Is it real or make believe that keeps me thinking of you? If you've got time to walk with me, I'll show you how my heart is true. And here I stand waiting for you. Tell me, baby, Sometimes I'll be foolish. Sometimes I know I get mad. Sometimes I say the wrong thing to you that makes you feel sad. But one thing is true in all that we've been through. You've never stopped loving me, no matter what I do. So let me say, yeah, that every day I try to find the words from my heart to say thank you. 'Cause you take me as I am. You take me as I am. Oh, baby. If you stop loving me, well, I would understand. But I won't take you for granted, no, no. When you hold my hand, your love makes me feel that I could fly to the moon. Not even the birds above can sing a sweeter tune. I needed to say that you find a way to make me feel anew. And I want to say thank you, 'cause you take me as I am. Oh, baby, take me as I am. Oh, Lord, take me as I am. Oh, take me. Oh, take me. Yeah, take me as I am.
Well, I can tell just by the way that you're smiling that you're still unsure. And I can tell just by the look in your eyes that you've been hurt before. But baby, no one can promise you forever. Right now I only know that we should be together. Because it's now or it's never, so won't you take a chance on me? Well, it's fine if all your previous guys, they made you run away. You can bet you'd only have one regret, and that's if you didn't stay. Walk my way. 'Cause baby, no one can promise you tomorrow. But today you take away all of my sorrows. You know I'd beg and I'd borrow for you, so won't you take a chance on me? Right from the moment we met, I knew that I couldn't let my fear get the best of me. And every moment since then has proven time and again that we're exactly where we're supposed to be.
Tiebreaker day here for DreamLeague Division 2 Season 3, and we just have these two teams fighting for literal survival. It's Virtus.pro versus Inner Circle and Permasteen's Winter bringing you through the action. And honestly, most of the time, Winter, the group stage games might be a little bit slower, right? People still try to figure things out. And then only when you get to elimination, when the matches start to really matter, that's where you see teams bust out the big guns. But Virtus.pro, I don't really know if the priority switched or something because they played a very sleepy game number one. They drafted active heroes, barely got anything done on the map, and then it just kind of felt like Inner Circle just did what they drafted. Ghost pushed, scaled on Naga Enigma, Black Hole, Song of the Siren combo, and there was nothing that VP did.
Zero, Mike. Zero, nothing.
I don't know.
They just sat back and traded farm against Naga Enigma.
I don't get it.
I don't know. Nobody got it. Don't worry.
Yeah, sometimes we try and give. Okay, let's still do that. Okay, let's give the players the benefit of the doubt here because obviously I'm sure that VP. Maybe there were moments where, okay, let's go, but then maybe Timato's saying, oh, I'm not ready, I don't have my item timing yet. Maybe Abed's playing this Wind Ranger mid, he's saying, okay, guys, I'm not strong enough to kill anyone, all I want to do is pick offs. So it sounds like, or at least the way it looked, is that there were many factors that we couldn't see stopping them from actually playing the game in the way that we were thinking would be better. I think everyone watching, of course, we're not the pro players for a reason. We can only speculate and we can only point, and we are never going to be hoping to be as good as them. So we're sure there's some sort of idea there. It's just not an idea that's obvious enough, right? And maybe sometimes you get too much in your own head. Maybe sometimes the obvious idea is the answer. Maybe you just needed to run on them with a Mars.
Just do something. Anything. They could have just ganked with the Wind Ranger. They could have moved with the Sven at some point because he also had dagger. Just something, just do something. It's not like their heroes are unable to kill people. They just decided to sit back and farm. Sure, you can talk to me all about, that the problem. Naga is pushing out their lanes, Enigma is pushing the lanes with the helm and the creeps and everything. Boots of Travel, Viper shuffling in with the Nether Toxin. Yeah, sure. But you don't need to sit everyone back, right? Some of the heroes could be hiding on the map. At least the Tusk and the Mars or the Sven, you have to take turns hiding around the map so you can actually find pickoffs. But they didn't even try, they were just pushing out lanes and then splitting up the heroes, two on top, two on bottom, or two on mid, and then one bit alone, They're not really trying to get kills because in order to stop the ghost push, you need to find the ghost and kill the ghost. But if you don't try to find the ghost push will never end.
Yeah, it just keeps on coming, and that's exactly what happened in that game number one. Hopefully, Virtus.pro can show us a little bit more of a convincing performance because, to be honest, it's not like they're a weak team. These are players who have been around for a long time at this point, at least 2 to 3 years. I know Hellscream, out of all of the players involved, is probably maybe one of the newer ones, but everyone else, Timado, Abed, Saberlight Fly, I mean, these guys, they've been at tier 1 tournaments, they've been at LANs. I mean, some of them have even won LANs. So you think that once you get to a certain point of playing Dota 2, you start to see very similar situations or problems arise, right? Sure, Winter, you can say every team is different, but with all the different teams that Fly, Abed, they've been on, you'd think you'd run into and have solved all the problems. There's a reason why they keep coming back to each other. But right now, it seems like there's a reason that's keeping them apart, right? They are physically not playing together on the map, and I'm not sure why.
It feels like they're just tired of playing with each other because there's a lot of problems. They're losing a lot of games recently. Because this is a real thing. When you suffer a lot of losses together and you do not solve the problem, things will, add up and people will get very stressed and they'll just lose interest in playing the game. I feel like they're just not motivated. They're uninspired. The VP side right now, they look like they're just showing up to work because they have to, right? Because they signed a contract, so they have to show up for work. They are not showing any passion. They're not showing any fire. They're not showing any desire that they want to win the game.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. The way that they're playing feels a bit lax, but at the end of the day, this still is a chance. Sure, it feels very far away now because maybe this Division 2 didn't go the way that you wanted, but it still is a very big opportunity for you to qualify for another tournament, right? DreamLeague Division 2 has one slot only for DreamLeague Season 28. And if you can somehow pick up the slack, pull your socks up, and get to that playoffs fight against Aurora, maybe even beat Aurora, who knows? You could just get yourself another tournament. It's a lot of EPT points, especially for a team like Virtus.pro, an organization very much involved in the whole EWC circuit. You know, they are placed in a lot of different titles there. So VP Dota 2 being at EWC, that'll be huge for them. I'm sure that's one of the big things that their organization has set out for this team as well. A little bit just confusing with the way that they're putting things together at the moment. But right now, the reason why you still look at our faces and we're not into the game just yet, it seems like there is some sort of Discord problem that the admins are working on, which is why we're kind of sitting here at the moment. And maybe while we wait, maybe we can just kind of revisit the standings of the results of the group stage, because that is something that has happened over the past few days. And maybe you're just joining us, maybe you're not as familiar what exactly went down. No surprises that Aurora Gaming are looking like the top dogs. They crushed Fissure Universe, and since then they've been looking really, really solid with Lorinov.
Yeah, they're just way better than everyone else here. It's very obvious that there is a big gap, you know. I think one win Enigma, maybe there is a chance they could upset Aurora, but like overall, it's pretty unlikely. And I think Aurora is the team that is the only team here that's above the rest. That's way stronger than the rest. Everyone else, I think they're pretty similar in the middle of the pack. One win, Enigma, zero tenacity. Even until to the point where you could even include Avalanche. You know, I think all those four teams below Aurora, they're very, very similar. On a good day, anybody can beat anybody. You know, I don't think it's impossible. But everyone in that bunch, when you compare them to Aurora, that's a very, very substantial gap.
Yeah, I think the biggest question mark for me is Nigma Galaxy, because the games that we got to cover for them, they looked pretty solid, right? They were playing very disciplined. Not a lot to complain about, which I think is very different from the usual Nigma Galaxy experience. Whenever you watch Nigma Galaxy, you're like, damn, what the hell are they doing? Why are they throwing this game? Why does it feel like they're not even coordinating? Maybe a lot of the questions that we're asking about Virtus.pro, you ask about Nigma Galaxy. But so far, what they've shown us, pretty convincing. Maybe they can be the ones to step up. At least they're my brightest shining star in terms of potential right now to show Aurora what's up. But that is still a ways away, as we're going to get ourselves into the draft of game number 2, Inner Circle versus Virtus.pro. Inner Circle now 1 game up off of their opponents, which means they are 1 game away from securing their survival here in Division 2. We're not even at the point where they're playing for the DreamLeague Season 28 slot yet. We're just playing for them staying in the tournament and keeping themselves in top 6. Because between these two teams, they finished with a score of 2-5. Inner Circle were only able to beat Nigma Galaxy and Team Silk, and Virtus.pro only defeated Inner Circle and Team Silk. So on paper, you look at the results, you feel like Virtus.pro might be the team that's favored coming into this. It's just this team that's playing today might not be that same Virtus.pro. Starting things out with a Chen though, that's going to be a fly signature, maybe a lot more comfortable for him going into this very, very important game number 2.
He's done with the ghost push. He is the ghost push right now. He's the wave clear. Push the waves with the creeps. He's going to do it this game. And let's see if Inner Circle can find an answer to deal with the Chen. Usually you see from the support picks, either you get a Bounty Hunter, core picks you pick something like Primal. Like those are heroes that are really, really good in my opinion against like Chen.
Okay, what about them makes them good against Chen, you think? Because it sounds like it would be for different reasons, right? The Bounty and the Primal, they kind of do very different things.
Bounty, you kind of just follow him. You just follow him and you mess with his XP, you cast his creeps. You make it very, very annoying for him by body blocking the camps because you're invis, right? So you can just follow him. Whereas for Primal, you don't really do anything to Primal as Chen. He's going to cut the wave, get his levels, and when he gets level 3, he's just going to trample on you because you have no stuns, you have no slow, you have nothing to stop the Primal from trampling all over you. So Primal is, I think, on paper, a very, very good hero against Chen. They're going to
go back for the Jing Tiny. I think this is comfort, right? I'd have to guess. For the stand-in?
I don't know. No idea if he just wants to only play this hero. Because this hero is not really good against Chen, in my opinion. Because you don't really fight the Chen off. You don't really get good prospects in the early game in the lane because there's creeps going to be around you. I think in general, Tiny is just not really that great against Chen. Even core Tiny, I think against Chen is not really that great. He's going to come out with auras. It's going to be very hard to defend your towers. Tiny likes to play long games where you get a lot of opportunities to pick people off on the side lanes. But against Chen, usually the games are going to be shorter, and usually there's going to be a lot of fighting in around the towers for objectives, and that's not something that Tiny really excels at. So I think, like you said, I still expect the Tiny to be a support here, not going to be a core Tiny, and they're going to have to pick a lot of team fight to kind of deal with this Chen. Probably coming from the position 5 hero, some Warlock, some Phoenix type hero. You need something to deal with the creeps and the Chen aggression coming to take your towers.
Yeah, every single time they've picked this Tiny so far, at least within this event, it has exclusively been a pause for hero. They're going to pair it up with a signature Warlock from Say. So both position 5s on each team getting their favorite picks here. Inner Circle banning out the Puck, the Wind Ranger, and the Shadow Fiend. So maybe, is this protecting a potential Tiny mid of some sort?
10 seconds remaining.
It doesn't really matter. Tiny mid is not like a big thing.
5 seconds.
You get countered by so many matchups. You don't really win your lane. So I don't really think that there's going to be... You shouldn't really use your bans for a mid Tiny. Especially a flex pick. I think in general, you don't really need to do it when the Tiny is being moved around, right? Because if he gets countered, you just move him to position 4. If you are a flex pick and you have to use bans to protect it, then it defeats the whole purpose of being a flex pick.
Okay.
I mean, the Puck is I think just a response to the previous series since VP. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing. Remember the game where they just first picked the Puck? I think it's actually...
Yes.
I think it was actually pretty bad. I don't know. Maybe they feel like they don't want to deal with it, but I don't think it's like such a scary prospect to be worried about in a draft.
Maybe they're just concerned that their 2 supports are going to get eaten up by the Puck because the control is a bit limited, right? You use that Avalanche and the rest of your heroes are going to be defenseless.
Yeah, but then it still does. It's still bad, because there's a lot of... Okay, you can be worried about your supports because you're going to pick certain type of supports, but you could also pick a mid laner that counters the Puck, right? Like, Tiny mid is like a Puck counter. Or you can pick Void Spirit mid. There's a couple of heroes that are really good against the Puck in mid lane, Like you can pick DK mid. There's a lot of answers, So I feel like this ban is like, it's a waste. In
Yeah,
general.
I can get that.
It's not a hero valuable enough for you to use a ban on it. And it might seem like it's a small deal, but if you are looking at Dota at the highest level, even every single ban matters a huge deal. Every single ban, every single pick needs to be at the precise timing, and you need to pick the precise hero and ban the precise hero for certain picks to work. Everything is weighted down to a T. You cannot afford to waste a ban or a pick here and there. And right now, VP, they're gonna respond with the Slada and Dark Willow. So I guess they just want to have like some catch with the Chen. So Dark Willow with Sada kind of provides them with that. And Sada is also like a potential flex pick for Virtus.pro. It can be played mid, it can be played off lane, so keeping their options open. And Inner Circle going to just respond with I would say the Slada counters here, right? The Ursa and the Tide. Tide doesn't really care about the Corrosive Haze. And Warlock and Ursa is a very, very strong lane, a stable lane to deal with the Slada if the Slada goes off lane.
Yeah, whatever physical damage hero you wanted to amp out with the Slada now is going to have a lot of trouble into the Anchor Smash, cutting that damage by a portion. And the Ursa eliminating that flex potential, right? You always like to say it. You see a flex pick from your opponents, you make sure it can't be flexed. It has to go a certain place. And the way it's looking right now, it might just have to be a Slada mid for Abed.
If he has to go mid, then I think they should pick their carry here. What carry can team out of? Because you see the Tide Hunter off lane and you see Ursa. So you see the carry matchup and you see your lane. And he has to pick his hero here. I think he might be wanting to play some either a minus armor hero, like some TA, or he just picks like a Muerta. I think Muerta is good into Ursa, and he seems like he really likes to play that hero. And that was something.
It didn't really work out though for them.
Yeah, that would be something that I definitely consider. They go for the throw. So this is like a very good carry to carry matchup against Ursa. You get to create missed chances when he's trying to go in on you as a throw. And you also have the potential agonies later. I don't think you should build it early, but at some point you could get the axe to dispel the overpower. There's a lot of things you can dispel here. Anchor Smash, Overpower, Fatal Bonds. So it could be a pretty useful Aghanim's game. But this is a hero that's designed to man-fight the Ursa. But as I always like to say, Dota is not about 1v1, it's about the whole lineup, So it doesn't mean because you can 1v1 the enemy carry, you're going to win late game.
I'm sure Troll would hope that the Dota 2 game is 1v1 because he could probably beat up a large part of the other Dota 2
who
heroes.
Actually beats Troll 1v1, yeah? If we were going to put Troll 1v1 against someone, yeah, who actually beats Troll 1v1? Does even Razor beat him 1v1?
You think maybe like a Viper with like Aghanim's Nether Toxin Viper Strike? Like, because you're not auto attacking fast. Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can always doom him, right?
Yeah, that's true. Maybe okay, but then it doesn't really count, right? I was thinking maybe like a Phantom Assassin or like a Slark. But then you would assume the Troll is gonna get like a BKB. Probably Slark. I want to say Slark. Slark probably beats him. Because you don't bash anymore. In the past, when you bash, that was a different story.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, on the team aspect, usually for Trolls, you want an aura offlaner. So kind of protect you, because you don't really like to buy BKB early on Troll. So they need like some aura hero ideally. So they're gonna go with the primal, but it's not exactly an aura hero. Usually with primal, you kind of want to buy your BKB dagger, get a shard early. I mean, it's kind of decent against Ursa because your ultimate kind of ignores like the status resist, so you can just control him during the enrage. So it's a pretty nice matchup against Ursa, and it's also very good against Warlock. Very similar to Chen, right? Just now I was telling you that Primal is really good against Chen because Chen has no stuns. You can't really stop him from trampling on you. I think you can say the same for Warlock. Like if he just charges on you and tramples you, there's nothing you can do as a Warlock. So this is
you're reckoning this is a off-lane Primal Beast for Saberlight here against the Ursa Warlock.
Very likely. And Abe is going to handle the slaughter. So now Inner Circle, I think they should just pick. There's no co-op, so co-op was the best pick. They need to pick something they can win the lane against Slaughter on the mid. Range hero, ideally, if there's a range hero. There's actually nothing. Everything is banned. Storm, Ember, Park, co-op. There's no Huskar. There's no range hero.
What you got?
So they have to go with the Conquer. Does Conquer beat Slaughter 1v1? I actually don't think so, but it gives them a lot of team fight. So they have the boat, they have the Ravage, they have the Rock. So they have this insane amount of overwhelming team fight that kind of makes it difficult for the Chen lineup to, try to hit towers and try to team fight, right? You're going to have to maybe wait for some of your auras to come online. But even then, I don't know if it's going to be enough. It seems like for VP to be able to fight, they might need to wait for triple BKB. So their timing is going to be slow. So I think this Conquer pick kind of forces VP to be on a more defensive side, but by nature, they like to be on a defensive side on the draft. Whereas Inner Circle, I could see them just trying to roll with the tight auras and the Rock from Warlock, both from Conquer. They're going to be the ones that are taking control of the map. They are on the dire side, so it means that it's actually not as good for them to contest the 15-minute Roshan and the Tormentor. But they might be able to overwhelm them in terms of team fight, and they might be able to find a way, I think that if you can actually get the Rosh before 15 minutes, because 15 minutes is when the Rosh moves to top. So if the Inner Circle side can somehow find a way to get Rosh early, he will put them in a very, very good position in the game, because I don't think with the VP's lineup, they'll be able to team fight early at all.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. The triple BKB is a really big deal though. I think that's kind of what VP might be looking out for. Other than that, maybe your only plays are limited to like, let's say, Primal Beast, blink in, and then you tag team up with the Dark Willow, try and get a kill. I really love this Kanka pick though. I get what you mean by it doesn't really seem like the answer to Slada in the lane, but I think it gives Inner Circle everything they want in this game. And the one thing that they're missing is the catch, right? The way to start the fight. Until that Tide has a blink or a Dead in the Water, it's very hard for them to lock these heroes down. So now X marks Torrent, you don't really have a save on the side of VP. On the Philippines voice line spam. I bet he knows where his heart is, he knows where he came from. Show him respect and love there. But yeah, We'll see how it goes. I think Inner Circle, they are very well equipped to put the pressure on. I'm imagining, say, as soon as he gets his Warlock Golem, he's going to slam it down on the tower. These tier 1s are going to drop. There's not much that VP can do in the ways of wave clear and playing the map until Abed gets like a blink, right? So Abed blink timing, probably really important. Also interested to see how he does in the lane. Because you were saying, you know, Kanka typically a pretty solid laner with that physical harass, but Slada also has a lot of sustain thanks to the river bonus regen.
Yeah. King of the mid 1v1 if it's against a melee matchup. Slada rarely loses to any melee hero. I mean, Conquer is one of the stronger ones, but I still don't think he's going to be able to do much against Slada. I think it's going to be a close matchup, but I will give Slada the edge, you know. You don't really get to see Slada against Conquer a lot in your pub games.
And no one's just really willing to pick it. A 4-2-3 a bit late to the bounty rune. We'll get it snatched away from him by Saberlight. That's awkward. And that allows Virtus.pro to get 3 runes for free.
That is definitely a mistake there.
Yeah.
By Ursa not securing that rune. I mean, Saberlight is not cutting the wave. So he's just going to play. He's just attempting to play the lane straight up. But I wonder what's the deal with this Tormentor ward at the beginning of the game for Inner Circle. They have a ward on the Tormentor. Like, what? What is actually the plan here? Just to look at the gates early on?
I guess so. I think maybe they're expecting for the Chen to come through, and they're worried that if they ward in the obvious spot, it's gonna get dewarded very quickly.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Because the thing is, like, what happens is that the Chen comes through one time, right? And then your Warlock and your Ursa immediately start playing safe. The Chen is insta buying a sentry and putting it right next to the gate. Oh, Saberlight. This Fatal Bonds is dishing out a lot of damage onto him. These little imps are gonna explode onto Hellscream. Last hit, Say will find the first blood. And you kind of wonder to yourself, this Primal Beast was picked as a counter to this lane, and instead of creep cutting, he decides to walk up and die.
It's very strange, you know. It seems it's very natural for the Primal to just get a blood grenade and clear the first wave in this specific lane matchup. There's nothing much the Warlock can do to you. But then he opts to play the lane, he gets harassed a bunch, and he just dies when he's pulling the wave. And that is so freaking strange. I actually don't understand what was meant to happen there.
Yeah, me neither. Very confusing situation. And now the lane is in an awkward position because even though Hellscream was able to drag that wave back, he only blocked half of it. This hard camp is still open for Say to pull. Meanwhile, shenanigans happening on the other side of the map as well. Laze is in a similar situation where he's managed to drag a full creep wave, but that's one of the benefits of the Tidehunter, right? He straight up does not care about the Chen.
I mean, the Chen, if he's laning with the troll like normal, it's definitely going to still pressure the Tide before you reach level 3. So it's important for him to get the levels right now. He's going to pull the wave to ignore the first 2 levels. The moment you get level 3 on the Tide in this lane, you'll be fine. With the second point, the Kraken Shell, and then Jin can just freestyle, do whatever you want. Stack, roam, whatever.
The stacks could be pretty nice here for both the Kunkka and the Tidehunter to go claim. Oh, who is it more important for to survive the lanes or maybe even come out on top? Are there any one of these two lineups that needs to get off to an early advantage?
VP for sure. I think VP's lineup, they need to kind of snowball, do well in the lanes because they are the ones that can't really fight head on in the team engagements, the 5v5 against the Rock, Ravage, the boat. So they need to find some sort of advantage early, rotate, buy time, and then get to their BKB timing. So the triple BKB timings are going to be very important for Virtus.pro. So they're definitely looking to go for that, and that's going to be usually slower than the auras, right? That would be coming out from Inner Circle.
Sure. And just a heads up, I guess the early game going okay for them right now. 2 Lotuses secured both for Virtus.pro on the side lane. So after that initial fumble in the lane, Saberlight unlikely to really die here. Should just be able to keep his own farm up. Although he is suffering a little bit at the moment. Both off-laners kind of taking the brunt of being in a lane counter matchup. Troll is picked to try and bully you as much as possible with those whirling axes anyway. Oh, Jing's gonna take a lot of damage. has a turnaround of the Avalanche, but because of that, he procs the hard camp, and the creeps are gonna get a little bit distracted.
Okay, that was definitely not part of the plan.
Yeah, that was weird.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I mean, how is our Primal doing? Is he back on his feet? Yeah, he's back on his feet. 21 and 4. Gonna pull the next wave. He should be fine now. Back to business, you know, for Saberlight.
Yeah. Good brambles. You lose a range creep, you accept it. You just move. Keep it trucking. As long as you get your farm, you're all good. Okay. Yeah, business as usual for the Primal Beast, keeping up. I think definitely between Tidehunter and Primal Beast, who do you think has the better like recovery potential?
Height, I guess. Tide farms the jungle quicker. But same goes for Primal, but I think they both are fine behind. They can clear jungle camps faster. Maybe Tide is a little bit faster. You don't lose HP if you get Vlads, but he's going for Veil first. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, it's kind of like even, you know. So Sada and Kanka, they're not exactly... Nobody's exactly winning. So, yeah. So this matchup is actually not as bad as I expected. You know, I thought the Sada was able to pull ahead in this specific matchup, but it seems no.
Eyes on mid lane. He might just pull a hit here with a Hellscream rotation. Dark Willow ready to strike. Just waiting for his time. Look at him. On the high ground. There is a line being drawn.
Konka is level 6, you know, so it's not going to be easy. He has mana for one spell, one bolt.
I think he might have spotted Hellscream. It's only level 2.
Oh,
he's gonna walk his way into another bramble niche. He is dead. Yeah, I thought he saw the... Yeah, there was a ward there, right? I feel like he must have seen him. Fly is not going to be threatened at all now as Abed continuing the chase onto this sub-zero armor Tiny. Like -7. Jeez.
I think he just wanted to bait, but then he walked into, because at that angle, that piling, I think it was very, very hard for him to walk there. You know, the brambles were kind of cutting him off, so he kind of didn't expect that. So he walked into another bramble and he just dies to that. You know, if he wasn't because of that bramble, he
hang on. 4-2-3 in the top lane. Good rotation there from Abed. Comes through, slithering up there before 4-2-3 expected to. And just a big trample. Saberlight catching him off guard. Nice moves here from Virtus.pro.
Dire are scanning.
Now Summer we need Mission Shrines. They're just going to go back and pick up theirs. Not really much happening here. So, yeah, I mean, the kill definitely was very big, you know, onto the Konka there. That was a definite mistake. And now the early game is going really well for BP all of a sudden. 2 of their cores on the top net worth. Both Starter and Troll. I mean, Primal is okay, right? He's not too far behind. This hero doesn't really need to win his lane. It's okay. So this is a very good start for BP.
Yeah, now the threat of the Slada just rotating around. Sure, they can spot him out with the wards, but anywhere he goes, you can see Inner Circle immediately adjusting to play a bit safer. Level 6 for Saberlight means that these solo kills are very possible with the help of Hellscream. It really does feel like that mid gank changed the trajectory of how this early game was looking. At first, we were talking about how Inner Circle pretty happy, all things considered, with this even lane matchup, but now the Kanka, I wonder whether he's gonna start to trail behind here. Instead, I haven't really seen him combine with his supports to use that boat and torrent.
Tower is under attack.
And they're still stronger with the boat. I feel like they should be able to find opportunities to make use of the boat on the side lanes to get kills. You know, he just have to be proactive about it. Try to find openings, react quickly, and you're gonna find one. You know, at the moment they need to be a little bit more patient because they took a bad trade and just sit back and wait. You know, wait for the right timings. They have to maybe consider using gate on their own to move around to allow the tide to accelerate as well. Gonna be a quiet next couple of minutes. Both teams are gonna just run around to get some farm, but they're gonna catch Saberlight in the jungle. Got greedy, he went and had to pick a bounty run.
That was a bit, the avalanche was saved there. Yeah, not sure about that. Did he at least get the bounty?
I mean, yeah, he got the bounty, but he kind of didn't see where the supports are, so it was kind of strange that he actually decides to just walk down to take the bounty. It was a very dangerous maneuver, and he got punished for it.
Yeah, the funniest part about all of that is Inner Circle weren't even looking out for him particularly, right? They just see a free primal run into 3 of their heroes. They're like, oh, okay, sure, yeah, you want to die? Why not? Even though the primal might be struggling, the rest of the 2 cores, like you mentioned, doing very, very well for themselves. Abed went for the completed Power Treads and Bracer first, so the blink is still going to take, I want to say, 3-4 minutes.
Dire's top tower
He's going to work his way towards there. Slada not really the fastest farmer. He's still doing a good job keeping up in terms of net worth. Blink Dagger of a similar distance away for Saberlight as well. Has some stacks to clear through though. Or at least the stacks are being set up at the moment. He's going to try and clear through them later on. A little bit of an unlucky Black Dragon just not giving a shit about him. So, okay, here we go. Smoke, pulverize, and then you use the additional AoE from the Facet, Ferocity, to clear as much of these out as possible. Yeah, everything going according to Virtus.pro's plan. I mean, in this sense, I guess them sitting back and twiddling their thumbs in game 1, just more of a general playstyle thing, right? It's working out for them in this draft. Do you think when we get to a later game situation, at least in this game 2, that Virtus.pro are gonna have the advantage?
Meanwhile, X-Mark.
I guess Hellspeed is...
Okay, they're just gonna rock to get the kill.
Alright.
Late game VP against Inner Circle lineup. Yeah,
Because I feel like you always got the Warlock Rock to counter-initiate the Primal Beast, which is kind of value.
Yeah, but the Primal is, I think no matter what, he's going to be very valuable hero against Ursa. And then Troll kind of outscales Ursa, so I do feel like late game VP are going to be happy in terms of late game. Inner Circle will have a very good mid game. Their early game didn't go so well, but their heroes are still really, really strong in the team fights in the mid game. So we'll see if they can actually utilize the mid game to kind of get some advantage back. Top lane, X-Mark.
Yeah, you want to be using these boats off cooldown. Very nicely done. Niche getting active, going towards the Spirit Vessel build. Not something you see very often on the Kunkka, but this just tells us that Niche wants to get things going, right? He wants to play for his team. He wants to run around and set up these pickoffs. He's doing a good job. Found 2, the Dark Willow in the mid lane, and now the Primal Beast in the top.
Actually, a pretty good item to get on Kunkka this game. The Vessel is very good against all 3 cores, and there's a Chen in the game. So I feel like it's actually a pretty good choice. It makes a lot of sense here. I mean, normally you'll be getting Blade Mail, which kind of would be nice because it accelerates your farm when you're farming the jungle. But this game, the Vessel could be very, very useful for them. They're kind of a little bit behind here, so I think that maybe the Vessel could tip the balance of the game if they can actually get just one important kill on any of the cores, right? The Starter, the Troll, the Primal, and then the Chen heal can't really save the Vessel target. It could be a very, very big difference maker here for the Inner Circle side. Yeah. I think still looking really good for BP, but I think this is the time where they will be starting to actually just farm their BKBs. I think the Starter can maybe make some plays with the Willow. Once they have level 6 on the Willow, they could move around the map like as a 2-man to try to look for kills, but in the grand scheme of things, they'll be looking to get BKBs on all 3 cores this game.
Yeah, that's still the game plan. But that means until they get those BKBs, they don't have any way of dispelling this pretty scary Spirit Vessel. Only the Troll has the basic dispel from his ultimate, but everybody else will be subject to a lot of pain and a lot of HP loss. Kind of feels like we're role reversing here, where Inner Circle, they have the more active draft this game, and they're the ones on the timer, so they need to make things happen. While VP, very happy to sit back, farm towards those triple BKBs. Currently 2k gold lead. I think a big part of that is probably the Chen, right? The fact that Chen is able to just kind of farm away while the supports on the side of Inner Circle, you know, Tiny, yeah, he can shove waves. Warlock can Fatal Bonds a creep wave, but they don't really clear camps and get items as fast as Fly can. I guess that's what makes it okay to go for like your Primal Beast and your Slada, right? None of those heroes really like to buy auras, but when you have a Chen that can do it for you anyway, seems fine. It's a nice balance. Someone's got to do it. If your support can, means that it frees you up to just rush those BKBs. Here's an attempted move out. A nice ward coverage from Inner Circle around the jungle area. They'll spot Abed out. And yeah, you can immediately see the Ursa starting to adjust his positioning.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
I mean, even if the side of Virtus.pro look for a move now, they have to be careful. Warlock Golem is available in 15 seconds. That counter initiation could be lethal for them.
And they should be looking to just sit back and farm right now. I think they can maybe go for like a small poke with the Slada every now and then with the below. I think two of them should be walking together the most. But they should not try to overcommit to force any team fights. You know, if they get into a bad position, you should always sacrifice one of the heroes, ideally the support, and just get out. You know, I think this is what Hellscream is looking to do right now. He's constantly just standing beside Abed, looking for a play. Right now, Primal joins the picture, but they are all under an observer ward, you know. So Inner Circle has complete information about what's happening.
They're trying to maybe make a play into bot lane instead. Here comes Lice, thinking about a Ravage, thinks twice though. Taking a lot of damage from this Primal Beast. Out comes the Ravage, they have the control, they're looking towards Saberlight. This Primal Beast is in big trouble. The Rock to follow up, keep them all stunned, and the Fatal Bond spreads the damage nicely. Arcane Rune for Niche, so he's gonna have that boat available even longer. X marks. You still have the ultimate available on Tomato, so you need to watch yourself not to overcommit. Hand of God was already expended, and looks like that will just open up the pathway for them to cut through the Golem.
Not too bad. I think for the Inner Circle side, they traded the Golem for at least a kill, a core kill.
And they traded two Golems actually, the Rock Golem and the Warlock Golem.
I think it actually.
It doesn't feel like it's enough, no? Like,
it actually feels better for VP now that I think, because they have the timing of the BKB, so they're happy to trade early game kills like 1-for-1, all these type of even trades, so they can get to their BKB timings. I think it matters more for Inner Circle that they need to be bulldozing through this type of small little skirmish, right? With their Warlock Rock, you use Rock and Ravage, you know, and you only get you get a call, but it's just one kill, and you traded one teammate for it.
Yeah, I almost felt like the response from the rest of Inner Circle came a bit too late. You imagine if the Kunkka was there in the initial jump, maybe Jing even survives. But the fact that Saberlight was able to put out so much damage onto both the Tide and the Tiny, by the time the Kunkka shows up and kill off the Primal Beast, there's not much of a fight left. And meanwhile, this is the hunting party that you talked about. Abed as well as Hellscream making it happen. This combination a lot more straightforward to work with than the Wind Ranger Tusk.
Things are definitely looking way better for BP in the second game. They look more alive. Saberlight is gonna get caught, get tossed back. Yeah, he's
X
dead.
marks.
No BKB.
Yeah, not much you can do about that. Boat's gonna connect.
That is a pretty big kill for Inner Circle, so they get something on the board. And it's also gonna accelerate the Ursa's daggers because he came over to join the fight. So the moment Ursa has dagger, they're gonna have a lot more options to make moves on the map.
Saberlight, that's his 5th death of the game at this point. He's been the primary one being caught out. And he's still finding action, don't get me wrong, but he is dropping pretty low in terms of the net worth. I guess all of it will be salvaged once he gets that BKB, right? That's where the game will really start to turn into Virtus.pro's favor. And Virtus.pro, they're grouping up around this top side Roche pit area. I wonder if they're going to try maybe get a pick off, walk into the pit. That could be something that we look towards here. They got drums complete on the Chen, looking to finish up that Greaves. I mean, Fly, he is basically a 4th core at this point, right? Like, look at his net worth. 6,000, just 1k below the two offlaners. I just kind of get the feeling that this Kunkka isn't quite doing enough. Yes, sure, he's X marks bolted the Primal Beast like 4 or 5 times. Then what? I don't know, it just doesn't feel like enough at the moment, if I'm being honest. But what can they even do? Right? Because the Tide, as much as it is a good answer to the Slardar, I feel like that bot fight, that was the first Ravage that we saw of the game. And the Tide is actually opting to go for a Shiva's Rush. So not going for Vlad's, not going for an Axe. Do you agree with this item pickup? Do you think it's good?
I can understand why, but I probably prefer the Vlads into
Aghanims, right? Or even...
Shard Dagger. Maybe not Aghanims this game. I think Aghanims is...
Okay.
And maybe it's also actually fine, because the Aghanims helps the concuss damage with the Tidebringer. It also kind of helps the Ursa. Actually, it might not be that bad.
Straight to the Roche pit, go VP.
It's the Radiant advantage with the Slardar. It's pretty hard to stop the Roshan between 15 to 20 minutes, and then it gives them an advantage to contest the Tormentor later. Huge blow to Inner Circle, not getting Aegis on Ursa. I mean, this is why during the draft I mentioned that before 15 minutes they might have to like consider making a move for the Roshan, you know, because if it moves to the top side on the Radiant and you're playing into Slardar Troll, they're gonna get it easily.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I feel like Inner Circle haven't used these ultimates as much as I'd like to see, but maybe now with Jing and his Blink Dagger, they'll start turning things on.
Well,
perhaps that's what they were waiting for the whole time.
600 gold for a Chen kill. That is huge.
Yeah, he is very farmed. VP were not expecting that. Looks like they'll lose themselves a tier 1 mid as no one is in position to respond. And Inner Circle, the way that they're positioning, it's almost like they can't believe it. Really? You're just gonna give this to us for free even though you have an Aegis? Sure, why not? Get away with murder a bit there.
Very, very strange. Why are they not attempting to defend? You know, they have BKB on Troll. He just got his BKB with the Aegis. Why are they actually so afraid to take a fight? And again, you know, waiting for these BKBs on the Primal and the Slardar. I mean, I guess Slardar bought a Yules. I mean, I know it's a pretty good Yules game, but on Slardar, I mean, it's really good because of the X Mark and Ursa, but still, you know, do you really want to get it on Slardar? I don't know if he'll come back to bite him. He's 3-0 right now, but this significantly slows his timing a lot, you know, because you need to have BKB this game to enter the team fight against the Rock, against the Conca, against the Tide, and Chen dies again because nothing is happening, right? He's just trying to get creeps and join his team, and they're just getting picked off on the map, you know. Again, you know, VP just carrying the Aegis, but not exactly able to force any issue on the enemy side.
I mean, at the end of the day, even if the game goes a little bit slower or not their way, we did talk about how this mid game is Inner Circle's timing. They've gotten to their items and maybe the game plan is just clear from VP. We don't want to force anything until we get those triple BKBs. And right now, we're still on a decent track. Sure, the Slardar slowed down his own BKB with that Yules, but maybe he feels like he needs it so he can survive the map. Because right now, he gets X marks, he's dead, right? With the Yules, he at least stands a fighting chance.
Yeah, that's kind of why you also want to get BKB as soon as possible. It's not just the X mark, it's also the Ravage and the Tide. Now, even if you use yourself, you might still die after you come down. We're going to see what's going to happen.
Jing on the front lines. Timato's going to be caught. Troll in some trouble, dropping low. Has the Aegis, like you said, and the entire Chen artillery ready to help him. They've shown their position out here.
Look at Inner Circle. This is what we wanted to see from BP last game. When Inner Circle had Aegis, they're contesting. This time, Inner Circle is contesting the Aegis on the VP side, even on the Tormentor.
Exactly.
And they're not afraid.
Yeah, they know they're strong right now and they understand this is their timing. Good decisive move there from Inner Circle to wrestle back control of this area. And with that, it seems like they've scared VP off.
Dude,
a few swings of the spells.
Dude, how are they running away again? Why are they not? Bro, they have the Aegis and they're not even trying, you know, like to position themselves on the high ground and take a fight. And now Abed is gonna die because he does not have BKB. I mean, he bought Yules and a shard, so with the Yules and a shard, you actually would have BKB. I actually don't like his itemizations at all, you know. Like the Yules actually is very, very bad in my opinion on the Slardar because you're gonna need Dagger, BKB, and the shard on this hero to be effective. And now you have the Dagger and the shard, but you have a Yules instead of BKB.
Big catch, Saberlight forced to pop that first BKB, turn around with the pulverize, but 4-2-3 is fine. The Rock will interrupt it and Timato trying to battle out in the front lines with his BKB, but you're onto a Tide with a Shivas and a Kraken Shell. He's not going anywhere, and this Aegis will get destroyed. The rest of Virtus.pro not in a good position to help. The Slaughter, he's just rejoining the fight through the mid lane. He's not coming through. Timato's gonna get caught. Timato's gonna get killed. Inner Circle contesting when they're strong. They completely destroy VP here. And the retreat, it has to be in full.
Yeah, that is the reason why I said that the Sala use is so game losing. I mean, it cost them so much. I'm sure it's kind of his mistake. He got caught in the mid lane, but now they take another fight with the Aegis and they lost the troll. Like, everything is going downhill right now for VP. I think it all started well, but now it's getting rough. I mean, they're not too far behind, but they still need to find the right place around the map. I don't think you can actually farm on the Sala. You have to actually participate. There's no choice. You cannot just say that I need to farm my BKB. They have to try to fight and look for pickoffs on the map.
It kind of sounds like a bit of what we were talking about last game, where VP, they started out this game on a much better foot. It felt like they were in a position to just kind of hang back, farm, play the style that they want. But we're now reaching a point where they are, again, giving up so much ground to Inner Circle for really nothing. It's not even like they're losing these fights and retreating. Niche is gonna get seen here in the daytime vision, but smells that something's off. A bit too deep under his own tier 2, even with that AD. Don't think he's gonna go down. Vanguard,
very good
Aghanims.
Very good read by Niche, He just notices something is not right because they have, again, very good wards. You look at the Inner Circle wards, one on top lane, which just expired, one in mid lane. They're all lane wards, and even the one in the bottom Ancients, they see nothing is going on, so he suspects that something is coming his way in the triangle.
Dire are scanning.
So again, Inner Circle with the better warding, in this series, just giving them the information to dodge ganks.
Someone needs to look into this Inner Circle warding pattern or warding scheme, because the way that they've been establishing their vision has been honestly game-winning, and at this point, survival securing. Game 1, they had this big network all across the river, disallowing VP from walking across. That's how Inner Circle was so confident to keep playing their Ghost Push style. And now, Game 2, just very tactical wards placed in areas you might expect VP heroes to be in if they aren't looking for a fight. And when those wards don't catch anyone, the bottom ancient area, right outside their jungle, all these little nooks and crannies, they don't see a thing. Inner Circle know they need to hang back and play safe. Some pretty decent item timings though. The Aghanims are complete on the troll, so he has that built-in dispel for not only himself, but for his opponents as well. Can take away a lot of pesky things.
Not the Crimson.
Solar Crest, Overpower, not the Crimson, but a lot of other things.
The Crimson is going to be very annoying for the troll. I feel like he actually doesn't have damage in a team fight. Crimson and the run buff with the boat. Yeah, this is tough right now for VP. I think they're gonna need to farm a little bit more to get items. They don't have damage. I'm pretty sure they won't be able to kill anyone during the Crimson buff and the boat.
Alright, quick question about this troll item build here. I don't play the hero a lot. Tomato is going for a Yasha, and it looks like he's queuing a Shard next. I have to hold that thought. The fight might be coming sooner than expected. Here comes Lace. Full burst down onto Tomato. Able to turn around and cut through the Tide and the Tiny. Dropping really low on Jing, but still surviving. Forced to BKB and escape. Looks like Abed will be left behind. Heals won't do him any favors there. Now, again, Virtus.pro just on the retreat, but when you're trying to run against a Kanka, it's not gonna work out. Saberlight's committing in with his BKB, as Timato's still doing work on the front lines, but a rock for a Primal Beast. Not able to find him just yet. Niche, finally with the pullback, they're trying to kite the Ursa, but they won't be able to do so, as now it's just Timato versus 423. And Rage and Battle Trance both available, but you're fighting in a very debilitating upheaval. Even with your Dispel, you're not getting away from this. Maybe onto Say, that'll be the kill. X-Marks pull him back, away from the Warlock. In comes 423 with his BKB and swipes through that troll. Just way too much for Tomato to have to do in these fights.
That's excellent kiting by Inner Circle. The troll just got kited to death. It has always been the problem of this hero. You know, you get kited during your ultimate, you are going to be useless in the team fights. And you saw how it all began, you know. The Sada just dies because he doesn't have a BKB. The Yus didn't save him. And everything just compounded from there. You know, they were trying to run away. They couldn't retreat on the VP side. And they just lost a couple more heroes, you know, on top of the Sada death there. Like Inner Circle just playing the team fights expertly, kiting the troll around, utilizing the X mark, utilizing the tide. They are just playing off each other really well. The Ursa just going in back and forth. He knows that he can never win the 1 versus 1 against Troll, but he has teammates, you know. So as long as he can kite the Troll's ultimate, he's going to be able to eventually come out on top towards the end of the team fight. I mean, VP here, they got to be more decisive with their initiations. If they go in, they use their BKB on Troll, and on the Primal, they definitely have to win and end the fight right there.
This is starting to look more and more difficult. I didn't even realize how big of a problem the upheaval would be for the troll, because even if you dispel yourself, it just reapplies immediately because you're still standing in the soup. Really, really annoying.
Yeah, Saberlight has to deal.
He
has to deal with the Warlock.
I mean, the Warlock survives that entire previous fight, which is insane. I don't even know how that happened. Say doing a good job with the positioning. And again, Virtus.pro, Inner Circle have been knocking on their door this entire series. Bro, didn't you guys 2-0 us the previous time? Try to steal with the rock throw. Roshan is roaring, could be awkward, but no one's there to jump in and make a heroic play.
Yeah, Inner Circle once again gets the Aegis. And they're in a very, very good spot right now. They're not too far ahead, just 5k ahead, but it feels like in the team fights, they're getting the upper hand through all this kiting, you know. They're able to kite the VP side, and they're able to utilize all these 4-stars well, and then the moment the BKBs run out on the Slada, or not the Slada, yeah, the Slada just got his BKB. Once they have their BKBs down on the Primal and the Troll, this Warlock is going to get into work, you know, with this soup, with the upheaval.
You just got to get rid of Say. He's doing way too much work in these fights.
He has to die first. They need to go on him first. Because the last couple of fights, Primal has been grabbing the Ursa, but then there's a rock on top, you know. So he just needs to actually just focus the Warlock, you know. There's no point in trying to grab the Ursa if the Warlock is alive and he can just cancel your BKB Pulverize. Yeah. It cannot happen ever again, you know, in the team fights.
Yeah, they got to keep their eyes on Mr. Say, but he's done a good job keeping himself out of harm's way. And all the farm in the world on Chen, but look at the net worth of the Warlock. How often do you see a Warlock keeping up with a Chen who's just been hitting creeps? He's done a great job just kind of remaining relevant.
Mike. All the time. You farm really fast on this hero. And you always have the excuse to, oh, I'm just gonna drop my rock, yeah, in this team fight. I guess we kind of need it. And then, oh, we didn't need the rock? Okay, I guess I'll farm with the rock, you know.
Oh, I guess I'll go hit some ancient creeps. There's an ancient camp nearby, right? Let me just go clear that and deny the enemy farm. Smile.
Efficiency, Mike.
Exactly.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Playing support 101. Always find an excuse to farm. A good support player always finds the best excuse to farm, you know, and your cores can never say anything back to you.
That's true. Shout out to DJ Prime.
What did DJ?
I mean, DJ was always picking up that farm, but he'd carry you in the game anyway, so nobody could complain, right?
Shout out to all the Ruik players. Always giving yourself an excuse to Fate Bolt to take the kill.
Yeah, don't.
I'm about to get my dagger. Guys, I'm gonna finish my Aghanim's, guys.
I don't know, even if he finishes his Aghanims, then he like steals like, I don't know, steals like Kraken Shell or some shit from the Tide Hunter. You're like, bro, seriously. What is the point? Looks like a bit of a slow burn here. Virtus.pro not really having the stamina, right? I don't really know how else to describe it. We were so frustrated on their behalf in that sleepy game number 1. It seemed like they had come alive a little bit, in the first parts of this game, and then suddenly Inner Circle just rinse and repeat. They're playing their lineup to perfection. The team fights, the kiting, it's all really solid and clean. The warding is sublime. They're catching Virtus.pro off guard, reading the moves. They're just gonna run into a Chen again, I think. Get a free pick off, go towards a tier 2. All part of the Inner Circle plan. Try for a TP out. Bye-bye. It's kind of crazy that they use the boat, not go live, but
right now
they didn't even need it.
I mean, right now I feel like they shouldn't be afraid to fight. They already have all their items on the VP side. Like if you're
Or
splitting
they might
up,
get a catch onto the Tide in the mid lane if he shows. That could be a good pick off, but the TPs can come fast from Inner Circle. They're already coming through.
Do they have a break to kill him? I mean, can they even kill him? I don't even think they can kill him.
Oh, they saw the Kunkka TP and they immediately knew that Rum is going to be too big of a problem.
But still, you think about what they tried to accomplish there. So they lost the Chen and then they immediately did a quick smoke trying to pick someone off. But it's a Tide in the lane, you know. The heroes that
they got Primal Beast X.
Oh, they have the X. Okay, fine. Okay,
Yeah,
they
they're
actually
Primal
have a
Beast
break.
X.
Okay, so at least now they have a way to kill the Tide. I mean,
Or
in
maybe
the
even
team
burst
fight,
the Kunkka, right? Because they can break the Emerald's Rum.
Is under attack.
yeah, in the team fights they have to take a short fight. The fight needs to be over quickly. You know, the moment they jump in, they need to eliminate the Warlock. Once they kill the Warlock, then the fight should be pretty easy for them. But overall, they are looking for short fights. They don't want the fights to drag out too long. You use your BKBs, you have to end the fight.
We were talking about the triple BKB timings this entire game. That's what VP were working towards. But now that they've had it, it's mostly been used defensively and in fights where they have not been able to get the advantage. It's 4-2-3 now, up on the high ground with the backup of his team and the Roche banner. How do you choose to take this initiation? You could go in with a big Primal Beast slam, but unless you find, say, like we said, the Warlock, he has to die. He's gonna do way too much. Start with the Rock Throw, trying to bait out some sort of a reaction. Maybe that just clears the way for them to clear out the Roche banner. In comes the Pulverize. Instant Enrage though. That did not work out at all. And the Rock now on top of Timado. Abed can't blink. Ravage catches the Slaughter and Niche. Still on the front line, so survivable. Nobody on Inner Circle really dropped low. It's a nice rock throw onto the back line. Saberlight, he's disrupting them, keeping them away from the Kunkka. But this Kunkka is so absurdly tanky. Finally, he'll drop to Timado, but you have to sacrifice so much. Still gonna work out in their favor though. A good setup there from the Primal Beast, even without his BKB. Keeps them away from the Kunkka and unavailable to help. And not really the Ravage that you were hoping for from Lays.
Yeah, that was not a good Ravage. It kind of looked good to them. When Saberlight ulted the Ursa, and because he had Against, he was able to come out of the Polarize. And then they just needed to kite back and slow down the fight a little bit. But the Tide actually just went in. He jumped the gun a little bit too soon. And that kind of cost them the team fight. I think the team fight was looking good until that point.
Yeah,
now
so
they are on
worried
the
about
defensive.
Virtus.pro.
Now they're going to
They
be
will
on the
be.
defensive side, Inner Circle. They have to sit back and be patient.
Yeah, what was
Tide
that
is
about? I mean,
Building a hex.
kinda...
Okay. I was kind of expecting more like a refresher. Like it feels like he needs to have a second Ravage in the team fights. I mean, do they actually need more catch? Not sure.
I mean, the only catch they have at the moment is the X-Box, right? Maybe they're thinking post-BKB,
Tiny?
they're worried they can't control Saberlight.
Tiny can toss someone back, I think. I mean,
It's
I
not
guess.
really felt very convincing so far.
Yeah, I guess they have. They can actually kind of just reliably set up the team fight with a hex. But now I don't even know that whether the team fight is strong enough here from Inner Circle's side, judging by what happened in the previous engagement. Let's see.
I mean, also you got to keep in mind that 4-2-3 didn't really go in that fight, right? That was like Niche basically like getting caught. And then I think 4-2-3 was the first one to make the decision, I'm not taking this fight, let's get the hell out of here. And Inner Circle, like the rest of the three members trying to help, like the Tiny Warlock and Tide were all standing together and they all got stunned and onslaughted by Saberlight. so they couldn't actually save the Kunkka. So it's a bit of a weird like disconnect in terms of communication. Clearly, the Ursa, he popped his enrage. He's like, I want to chill, but then Niche was already caught in a bad spot. So because of that alone, Virtus.pro now kind of back into things, right? They're not as cooked as we previously thought. And we were talking about it early on. They scale a lot nicer into the late game. They have so much functionality with this Primal Beast, with this Slardar. It's only going to get harder for Inner Circle. So you get the feeling maybe Inner Circle want to try and push the issue now. It's not time to hang back. If anything, it's time to force things.
They're going to have to wait for the next Roshan right now, after what happened there. Need to slow the game down a little bit. Find their footing. Finish their remaining items. I mean, Tide has 5k gold, you know. They need to spend their gold before the next fight.
Maybe just finish up that Hex. Get that control. He didn't end up going for the Shard as well, which is pretty interesting. But I guess it doesn't make sense into a Troll Warlock with like Giga attack speed.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, maybe not so much this game. I think he needs... I mean, I guess if he can get to somehow Refresher plus Hex, that would be great for him.
Yeah. Still a bit of ways to go though. Virtus.pro, you can tell they're feeling a lot more confident, and just from the motions on the map, Timado's the one calling the shots now. He's feeling strong enough to start activating the rest of his team to follow him around these areas. Here's the Roche that we were waiting for though. It's gonna come back up. And Virtus.pro, this is one that you have to contest. The fly creeps are gonna start scouting. This could be trouble. Lazy sees the access from Timado. Roche is gonna raw. Need to find an angle in. The smoke comes a bit late. Shivas will scout them. The smoke breaks onto the Tide. He's in trouble, but Niche on the high ground ready to help him. Avalanche not gonna save him. He has a buyback, comes back into the fight immediately. Jing now trying to kite away. All they need to do is wait out the BKBs. The Ursa moving away from Timado. Jing's gonna drop without his own buyback. Say still waiting for an opportunity. He's dropped the rock. He's gonna die. Virtus.pro, they're doing it. They're finding these opportunities and getting the pickoffs. The Ravage finally comes back in, but Abed's there to deny him. Crushes down the Ursa, and Timado's able to win the fight. On the front lines, the Troll will shred them all to bits. And Inner Circle, they might have just thrown this all away.
That was a very, very big mistake there by the Tide. Like, he went a little bit too soon, you know. His teammates, they were kind of like, I can see the idea that they were trying to get the Raw to pop on the Roshan and then position themselves on the high ground to take the fight. But they were just not ready, you know. When the Tide went in there, he got caught and his teammates needed another, I want to say like 3 seconds to get to him. So he just dies without being able to do anything. Like, if the Tiny was there, you know, imagine, or a Kunkka boat was there, you know, when they caught the Tide, it could very well be a very, very different fight, you know, for Inner Circle. But unfortunately, they were not ready, they were not in position. Tide was a little bit too hasty with his maneuver, and that is going to cost them. It seems like it's going to be the game here, you know, for Inner Circle.
It's crazy how fast things fall out of control. One major mistake is all it takes. And now, Say being caught out, we were complimenting that Warlock, but I think the only thing that would have saved the Tide in that situation was his rock. He was a bit too concerned with maybe Virtus.pro will be wrapping around trying to penetrate the pit. But it was that Tide Hunter that they cracked wide open instead. 2 lanes of racks just like that. Virtus.pro, we were worried that they were getting a little bit too passive, but this time round in this game 2, they drafted a lineup that works for them because they have outscaled Inner Circle at this point.
And also the fact that they don't have a pipe, right, on Inner Circle side. So the Tide basically died to the magic damage there from the VP side, you know. There's a lot of magic damage from the Primal, from the Dark Willow, just crushing him in that team fight, you know.
Now how do you kill the Troll? That's the big question. The previous times you had to kite him so hard. Saberlight, BKB, pulverize. You don't have a way of stopping it. The refresh, pulverize again. Ursa will get mowed down, and that will be game for sure. GG is called, and we're going to a game 3 here for survival here in DreamLeague Division 2.
A very, very good fight, you know, in the end for VP. They were able to find the fight. They were behind the last, 15-20 minutes, but that one crucial fight at the Roshan, they found the advantage. They took full advantage of Inner Circle not being ready when they were trying to bait with the Roshan call. And yeah, I mean, just killing the tide, and then the rest of the fight was going to be very straightforward for them once the tide gets picked off. They were able to find the warlock after that. Inner Circle just not in position, couldn't maintain their formation, and Osa couldn't really fight the throw, head on. So that was a disastrous and game-ending fight for Inner Circle. So VP able to force a game 3. They show that they are here to play as long as they have a draft that allows them to play slower. I think this is the key, right? They need a lineup that allows them to have better scaling so they can play their natural way of being a little bit more conservative, a little bit slower, and ultimately outscale their opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we saw there. When it comes to patience, it's just about getting Timado to that late game, and he's going to make all the right calls for you. VP coming back in a big way after a sleepy start to the series. And like you mentioned, will force a game 3 that we'll have for you after a short break.
Well, I can tell just by the way that you're smiling that you're still unsure. And I can tell just by the look in your eyes that you've been hurt before. But baby, no one can promise you forever. Right now I only know that we should be together. Because it's now or it's never, so won't you take a chance on me? Well, it's fine if all your previous guys, they made you run away. You can bet you'll only have one regret, and that's if you didn't stay. Walk my way. 'Cause baby, no one can promise you tomorrow. But today you take away all of my sorrows. You know I'd beg and I'd borrow for you, so won't you take a chance on me? Right from the moment we met, I knew that I couldn't let my fear get the best of me. And every moment since then has proven time and again that we're exactly where we're supposed to be. Yeah. Oh, won't you take a chance on me? Ooh, oh, won't you take a chance on me? My eyes are closed so long after the sun comes up. We do a dance in the dark, down the hall, pictures fall, even the neighbors call. But then you rip out my heart, every artery, a part of me. Ooh. It's obvious to me that you love to watch me bleed. But not half as much as I love when you leave. I hate to see you go. But I love to watch when you walk Baby, tell me it's something real, and I'll give you everything. Every now and then wicked smile, you know I can't help myself. They play around with me for a while, keep tearing me up until there's nothing left. Ooh, it's obvious to me. Yeah, you love to watch me bleed. But not half as much as I love when you leave. I hate to see you go. But I love to watch when you're walking away from me. Yeah, yeah.
Took a walk down Pico, heard someone shout from a crowd of fed up people, getting told they should calm down. Didn't wanna fight, but the tears that fill their eyes are brought by the people sworn to preserve their rights. Oh,
After how rough things looked in game number 1 for Virtus.pro, honestly felt like they were still half asleep, but good to see that they've woken up and drafted themselves something a little bit better suited for survival. A lineup that can scale, a lineup that fits the slower way that they want to play, and maybe for game 3, a lineup that can save themselves here at DreamLeague Division 2. With their recent qualification to Birmingham Winter, you would think that these guys are probably one of the top contenders, but they've struggled a lot in this event so far. They've not had the best score lines. The team looks pretty disjointed, to be honest. And part of it might be the draft, right? We can see the stark differences between how they had to play in game 1 versus game 2. Game 2, it felt a bit more comfortable, even though it wasn't perfect.
Yeah, but they were able to find a way to draft into the team's comfort zone. I think that is the key. The scaling. They need to draft greedy heroes on the VP side because they don't really have the ability to play fast. So just have a draft where it's slow, it allows you to scale, so you don't have to rush in the game. You don't have to play fast. So it's natural to be slow in the game.
Yeah. I wonder whether Inner Circle will identify this trait though, because they had a lineup that scaled better in game 1, they won. And then they had a lineup that scaled worse in game 2, they lost. Shadow Demon Dazzle, a bit of a different complexion to the opening of the drafts already. Going away from some of the first picks, I mean, Virtus.pro still have their Chen available. So the fact that they go for the SD instead, it's pretty interesting. I mean, SD is one of the strongest support heroes that exist right now, so it's not entirely surprising, but...
I'm more surprised that Dazzle was first picked over the Shadow Demon. Like, how the hell? So, what is this Dazzle? Are they going to try to bring something special with the Dazzle? Some group up, team fight hero early, some pushing lineup. And Chen is still in the pool right now for VP. I think they could just go back for the Chen. Maybe not this pick, 16, 17. I think SD, Chen, plus a couple of good heroes here. Maybe they can open up with a Mars. Always nice to exit the first, a second ban phase into a Mars pick. It's very nice here. Very good against the Dazzle. Actually, no. Never mind. You already said this. Dazzle does not give a fuck. You can see in the arena.
It didn't work out for them in that game number 1. It looked pretty rough, man.
I mean, it's still a good hero. I still think Mars is an incredibly strong hero. Like, he's been nerfed how many freaking times since TI? Still, the hero is here. Imagine how broken he was before.
Yeah, but the thing is, people tend to have a problem with how Saber's playing it, right? He's very, very hit or miss as a player, and I feel like on Mars, you want someone who's more stable. It's funny because I still would say that out of all the Saberlight heroes, Mars is probably one of the ones he's more known for. But when Saberlight does not do well on these heroes, oh man, the haters come out of the woodworks, everybody's flaming the shit out of him. It's rough.
So they end up picking the mid here. Let's see if it actually works out for them. I mean, they already banned the Huskar for the Ember Spirit, so there's that. There's no Huskar, there's no Viper. There is unfortunately still Slada. I think they could actually just pick Slada here to beat Ember in the lane. Very, very difficult matchup. Slada or DK, those are the two really good heroes against Ember in the lane. But Inner Circle go back for Tiny. Jing is only wanting to play Tiny, 170 ping.
Yeah,
not the easiest hero to play.
Definitely found a lot more impact in game number 1 than game number 2, though. Game number 2, I feel like his presence was a bit more lackluster, I would say. Storm versus Ember. Ban out the AA that they had some problems with in terms of the healing denial.
Storm, Tiny, and Dazzle. I have a pretty solid trio here. I think as Storm, you kind of want your supports to be able to go in so you can come in later to clean up the kills. You're very, very useful at finding the SD behind enemy lines. So it's probably going to be mainly the Storm's job to kill the SD in the team fight. And here you go, VP goes for the Chen. So Shadow Demon, Chen, Ember, a pretty strong setup already from the get-go. So I think here they're probably going to... it's hard to say what they're going to pick here. Which side lane call? I don't think they have any shared hero pool here. Yeah, I don't think so. So they have to probably pick a blind here. Again, I think you just have to pick Mars. If you cannot pick Mars, it's such a big disadvantage. Because you have to pick something blind, and it's pretty difficult to pick. Nowadays, a carry hero blind. The only carry hero blind, maybe it's like some gyrocopter. I don't know. Yeah, this is a very difficult pick here for VP right now because they don't have Mars. Or they have Mars, but they can't win with that hero.
Also, Mars Shadow Demon Chen doesn't really feel like the most inspiring set of heroes to get much done on the map.
Why not? It is. It is good.
I don't know. I mean, after seeing the Saberlight Mars, can you blame me?
It's more of the Saberlight Mars problem than the Mars hero as a hero by nature. And it's just the way he's playing it was not very ideal, so to speak.
Yeah, the Mars Defender has logged on here.
So because they are taking so much time, so I think they're probably gonna pick something else that can lane with Shadow Demon. So there's a Centaur, or there's something that can clear stacks, some Beastmaster type of hero. So SD can stack and they can clear it. I mean,
what could be fine for getting repositioned? That's the main thing that I'm thinking about. Like, what is not so scared of a tiny dazzle? There's your Tide, okay? Full Death Ball comp on Virtus.pro, big stack clearer, big aura buyer. I like it. Doesn't really care about poison touch in lane.
I mean, you do care. You do care.
Okay. A little bit.
It doesn't proc until you took already so much damage, so sure you can take it away, but it is a annoying factor, and now you have to, because you pick the Tide Hunter and without knowing your matchup. Let's see if Inner Circle can punish this. So they punish it with the Ursa Dazzle. This is so annoying to play against S type. And you can maybe try to get Gush at level 1 to kind of combat it. I think if you go for the standard Anchor Smash with Kraken, you're going to lose the lane by default. But I think with Gush level 1 with SD, you can actually maybe do well in the lane. So what you can actually accomplish is you start with a Disrupt, and then you Gush the hero, either the Ursa or the Dazzle, and then you can push them back out of the lane. So maybe you can win the trade wars by actually doing that.
This Ursa didn't really work out for 4-2-3 in the previous game. There's still the potential of a Troll as well this game.
They're going to ban the Troll, I think, for sure here.
A Troll Chen Ember Tide Hunter SD. That is a disgusting ball up run at you lineup. What do Inner Circle need though? What are they looking for in their offlaner?
Yeah, Underlord would have been nice. Aura Team Fighter, so they're also kind of looking for, I think Brew is okay, Brewmaster. Brew, Mars is still there. Those are, I think, kind of okay. I think maybe I like Brew a little bit more. It synergizes well with the Dazzle and the Tiny. Dazzle, you can heal the Brooding, so you can actually burst heroes during the ultimate. You can use the Shadow Demon up in the air. You can use the Tide up in the air and kill the other heroes. There's a lot of things you can do in this lane.
I just wonder if they'll have enough catch with the Brewmaster, right? They are relying on your Tiny Storm to get in on the Ember.
What else do you need? Yes, Tiny and Storm. There should be more than enough.
But I mean, like, in a team fight, how do you kill the Ember? Like, you go in, the Disruption comes out, then what? Ember just has free fight?
You're not supposed to kill the Ember. You're supposed to kill the SD and Chambers. So as long as they can find the SD and Chen, and you have enough damage output to kill them, that will be sufficient. I mean, I think having 2 catch usually is enough. And you also have to calculate that during the Dazzle Ultimate, you also have kind of a catch, a hex, some disable. So it's not like you have 0, out of the other heroes.
Okay, maybe let me rephrase then. I think what I'm looking for on Inner Circle is some sort of team fight to combat the Ravage. Because right now it feels like Virtus.pro, they group up, you try and run into the Ravage, you're going to get Ravage, and then it's cooked.
You toss the Tide in the air, that's why. I think Brew is actually very good against Tide for that reason. Ignore him, it doesn't mean you have to fight through the Tide. You can just put him in the mailbox and just come back to him later.
Yeah. Just hit the snooze button on that Tide Hunter alarm. Don't want to deal with him yet. Timbersaw is the pick.
Pick Timber. Yeah, the damage. They just straight up have more damage. And Timber is also really good against this this Chen in the lane. And without Ursa, so there's not many heroes that can actually deal with the Timber in the lane. So they need
How's
something
Troll,
with
though?
magic damage. Troll, no, it's okay. I think it's not the greatest. I prefer something with magic
5
damage,
seconds.
like Gyro, Luna type of hero. But they won't match up well against Ursa. Troll matches up well against Ursa, but it doesn't match up well into Timber in the lane, especially with Chen. I think see, they go for something that's better. Okay, not the magic damage, but TA is really good into Timber because of the minus armor and your side blades doing pure damage. It's a very solid lane with Chen. So BP, they have very, very solid, I think, lane setup here. TA with Chen on the safe lane, SD and Tide. Even though it's against Ursa, I feel like maybe they actually can win the early trades with an early gush on Tide Hunter. So if you do well on both the side lanes, you have an Ember rotating around. This could look really good, for BP. And whereas from inner circle side, so I think you get a Grease on Storm, so you don't really feel vulnerable to the slight chains from the Ember Spirit. And then you kind of want to play through the Timber Saw. You get with the Ursa, go to the Timber's lane, because Timber needs to be enabled this game. He is the main hero to kill the Tide with his pure damage. So he needs to have a good start by using the Storm with the runes or the Ursa with the Gate, or both together.
I'll see whether Inner Circle can get this Timbersaw off to a good start. Feels a bit greedier than maybe just going for that Aura hero. I know Centaur was banned, but maybe there were some other options there. Overall, feels like Virtus.pro are equipped for success here. Do you think that they have the ideal setup for themselves, right? Because we talked about it kind of jokingly, but Virtus.pro seem to be more powerful when they are not pressured to be the ones making things happen. Do you think they need to make things happen in this game? Because they got Tide TA. This feels like a very fast lineup, but I don't know whether Virtus.pro want to play that fast.
Yeah, it's definitely a fast lineup. Tide TA with Chen, Ember Spirit, SD. Late game scaling wise, I actually feel like Inner Circle definitely have the edge with Storm, Timber Saw, and Ursa. I mean, this is not exactly a recipe for BP. I mean, it's a good draft, I think the draft is looking nice for BP, but judging based on how they played the last couple of games, whenever they have a fast-paced draft, they just don't really execute the fast-paced lineup.
Yeah. They don't have enough gas in the tank to drive it all the way home. But VP, this is their last chance here. Qualify for Birmingham, would love to stack up more EPT points by making it to DreamLeague Season 28. But that one slot that's available at the moment, it's still so far out of their reach. This is a battle for survival to figure out which one of these teams is going to be our second eliminated from the group stage and which one will move on to the playoffs. There are still many more opponents to have to overcome there. Tougher battles ahead, but for now, Virtus.pro starting to wake up from their slumber a little bit. And again, we're seeing a similar situation against the Chen. It's that early gate ward to ward against some of the fly rotations.
Seconds to battle.
The thing is, do they actually need to? Do they actually need to place it this early? They could just put it on the Dazzle and go and place it later when the game starts, right? So they don't lose that valuable 1.5 minutes, for doing this so early. This is what I can't really wrap my head onto. I mean, it might seem like a small thing, because usually chants, they don't really come until like minute 4, so you might not have it, 4.5, something like this.
We'll see whether it makes a difference.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan of just placing this ward so early, because usually you can just place it on the 5. You're going to be on the lane, and any given notice, you can just place it on the gate. Giving you extra 1 minute, for this ward to stay alive.
Spot the Shadow Demon coming through the Twin Gates now, though. So they know it isn't some sort of tri-lane setup for First Blood with the TA and the Chen to bully Lays. But Lays still very much going to get bullied. It is a really rough matchup for this Timbersaw, and honestly, not much that the Tiny can do to help him. The best thing you can hope for is blocking the small cam as Jing is doing and going to pull the wave, but he's going to have a very annoying potato creep just beating away at him the entire time he's trying to do so.
They're both gonna drag the wave. This is gonna be a very annoying. Okay, the wave is gonna lose aggro for the Chen. Kinda wasn't able to just keep the wave going. So this is looking good for Jing. He takes the big circle, big round. So it's gonna connect for the next wave. As long as he's just pulling the wave and keeping the Chen busy, and the Chen is not right-clicking the timber, this is really good for Lace. Yeah, very nicely done by Jing. This is
We'll lose his career though. Small consolation prize.
Oh no, the Timber's career, that's a tangle. Uh-oh. Oh, he still has one tangle. Okay. It's not the end of the world. This is what you're gonna want to accomplish on the Tiny. He's gonna take a bunch of damage, but this is worth it.
Yeah, big feat
it.
of acrobatics just to get to this point against the Chen to avoid that really rough lane matchup. Speaking of rough lane matchup, Niche already doubling up Abed's CS here in the mid lane. Storm versus Ember, is it really supposed to be that bad?
No, I don't think so. I think Storm is you're slightly favored, 6-4. It's okay, right? Right now it's, 5 CS, whatever, it's...
That's a wave, brother.
Yeah, that's actually a full wave, but... it's not the end of the world. Certain lanes you can definitely snowball from this sort of advantage, but Storm against Ember, I don't think it's exactly possible. It's very hard for the Storm to actually kill the Ember. Some lanes I agree. Like if you get an advantage, you get a couple of early CS, you get a small little item quicker, especially Queen of Pain lanes, you can definitely get a solo kill. But this lane, it's more like, it's a very farmish lane, you're just looking to trade farm, not really exactly looking to kill. Whereas on the top lane, the Tide, he has opted to go for Gush against the Ursa, so able to stave him off in a couple of occasions when they were trying to go aggressive on him. But in terms of CS, he's definitely still struggling, 10 and 1.
It's still
right
pretty
now,
rough, and I mean, CS aside, the fact that Hellscream has to stand here and bodyguard him means that no stacks have started just yet. The triangle is painfully empty.
Yeah, but it's okay, I mean, the Tide is not actually getting absolutely zero. He's just losing out on a little bit. It's just the nature of the matchup. And you're looking to see if you can use the gates to influence this lane, Like if the Chen can actually come here later with a gank.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out. You had your criticism about that ward. Maybe the ward expires and then the Chen just goes through and it ends up being the most useless ward anyway. But so far, it's allowed the Dazzle and the Ursa to play pretty aggressively up onto Saberlight. They've kept him out of CS range for a little bit, but he's still getting his small little pieces. He's going to walk towards the Water Rune. Fly actually opting to save his potato creep, not wanting to give the bounty over. I feel like he could have probably denied that Water Rune, but just decides to not give a bit more gold instead.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. Giving up the creep, if he can actually deny the rune, actually has very, very big influence in the mid lane. Actually worth throwing your creep away.
Like,
I would have
it's like 20 gold, right? And like a little bit of EXP.
Yeah, definitely worth it to deny the rune there. At least try,
Yeah. No, he made the rotation all the way there for nothing. And the focus here from VP very much on watching out for Jing and his ganks, right? We already see one ward right outside the Roche pit, near the bot side, and one ward sort of to the right side of the Storm's tower. Maybe trying to spot out a TP in. Stacks are gonna start now. Hellscream back to regular programming. 6-minute runes are going to be extremely important here for both these spirit heroes.
Oh, hey,
I wonder how many of the supports can actually peel out.
By the way, they replaced the top ward already. There's another ward there on top.
Okay. I'm going to get value out of this one way or another. 4-2-3. There's a very specific way he wants to play this. And that's how. Hellscream being annoying. Just kind of looking for the body block. The pings come through, they want to punish Hellscream instead. Niche taking quite a bit of damage. Still with decent backup wand charges to work with. Will punish that Shadow Demon for overextending. Jing with a nice TP. Bails out his Storm Spirit, gets him to the level 6. And Niche should be able to get back to the fountain, reset, and come back for that minute 6 fight.
Very nicely done by Jing. Good rotations. They have to defend this catapult wave, It's gonna do a lot of damage to the tower if they don't address this. There's going to be a shield rune. Hell Scream disrupts, gets the shield rune. Abed doesn't really want to commit. He just wants to protect the catapult wave. They're doing everything they can to keep the catapult alive here.
Are fortified. Dire are scanning.
I mean, Storm's level 6, so I think that's the end of it here.
Yeah. Hellscream even walking forward to try and body with that shield rune, but good play from Niche, not allowing the creep wave to crash into the tower. And that will be the pressure suspended. Meanwhile, top lane, Avalanche will catch out Saberlight. Again, being punished. He's trying to pull the creep wave, be cheeky with it, but Jing, right place, right time. He's kind of complaining about his Tiny in the previous game, not really feeling as impactful, but this game, definitely stepping up. Wisdom Shrine timing though, VP wrapping around here. This is troublesome. If they're not able to secure the opposing Wisdom Shrine, they will be at a huge EXP deficit. Even Abed here wrapping around. You can see the 4 heroes from Inner Circle going to the other side of the map. And it looks like any sort of a response there. I was thinking maybe Virtus.pro supports could start TPing first, but they choose not to force the issue. 1 for 1 will be the Shrine of Wisdom trade.
Yeah, at least they're gonna really secure one, so they're not in any rush of trying to get the other one. At least they've already kept it even. And Saberlight, he's going to die again.
That's
and
not good.
I mean, this is why the pick there at 16-17 was so crucial. They took so much time. They know that the tide is going to get countered, and this is what is going to happen, right? This is a huge reason why I said they needed the Mars pick. You know, Mars does better in these bad matchups.
Maybe getting a PTSD after that rough Mars performance. Niche is going to jump on forward. Still got an Avalanche, but a bit too deep for them to commit into. Completely dry on mana between Jing and Niche. And they're not able to do much. Maybe try and just stick around, block a stack. Look towards Saberlight again, but again, no mana on any of these Inner Circle heroes. Big Lotus, big one. But that's going to allow Abed to get that AD rune. So big timing for Virtus.pro. They could look to try and punish some of this aggression here that Inner Circle have been exerting in the top lane. Speaking of, Niche is in big trouble. Still able to zip away. Has to go back to base for the reset. So he's going for Greaves this game. Off the back of that reset though, Virtus.pro are going to be able to pressure that tower. Catapult didn't manage to do so, but now with the Chen creeps and the AD rune, I think they're going to get this one for free.
Power of the Chen. My Chen allows you to take all these towers.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Chen, Jakiro, Pugna, and out of the 3, I think Chen is the most oppressive one. If you can get a good idea on when you can actually pressure a tower with the catapult or with some sort of rune on the mid laner. I mean, despite having a really, really poor watermelon, I think VP is still very much in this game, you know. They're going to be able to, I think, force another tower soon. We'll see where they are deciding to bring their heroes to. Maybe to the top lane, to the tight lane with Ravage and try to attack on that location. I mean, we'll just have to see for the 10-minute rune. Very crucial for both sides to fight for the next rune at 10 minutes.
Yeah, you heard the man. Bring all your friends. It's time to battle. Make sure Niche gets something to work with at least here. Bit of a quieter start to this early game. Kind of shades of the first game, except in first game it made a lot of sense for Inner Circle. They had a Naga, Enigma. They weren't really too concerned about pushing the issue. This game though, maybe a similar situation, because now that I'm looking at it, Storm can make things happen, but really he's your only core that wants to do things. Niche is gonna get that regen rune, even bringing the Ursa in to try and help. Now Hellscream's in trouble. Pop the Disseminate on himself, with the mass TPs in, the threat of the Ravage is enough to scare them off. Niche, a short zip, using that regen rune, having to pop it immediately, that's uncomfortable. Abed's still poking away, but nothing else to be found here for Virtus.pro. As Jing's still sticking around trying to sap some EXP, he'll step up a bit too far and give up his life. Not where you want to be. Still got a grave perhaps, okay. Are they really gonna try and fight into this Ravage here? Maybe just force it out from Saberlight a little bit. They are poking, they are prodding, and they are getting themselves a nice little trade. Position 4 for position 4, and Saberlight just didn't feel good enough with that Ravage at the moment.
Definitely could have actually maybe Ravage and try to save the SD, or maybe at least try to kill the Storm there. He just hesitated way too much here, way too long. At the end of the
Are
day,
you
they traded
concerned
one
at
for
all
one.
if you, yeah, if you are you concerned that if you press that Ravage, then that opens the floodgates for Inner Circle to just run at you, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's too early.
Okay.
I much rather use it just for a kill, you know, because I think in the late game, mid game, you definitely have to be more cautious when using a long CD spell. But during the early game, I would say that whenever you can just use it to get a kill, just use it.
Yeah, just let it rip, yeah? No point being conservative. Jing, dropping the Kukui's flag in front of Abed. Say, remember your roots, pal. Don't you forget
Come
it.
home. Come home to Manila. The boys are waiting for you, I bet.
I mean, he tried, right? He was on blacklist for a little bit. It looked like ass.
Why you gotta remind us of the pain? Why?
Nah, I mean, he's on to better things now. Actually, I don't know whether it is better
Is
with
it
how VP have been playing.
I don't.
I mean, maybe... Okay, let's just put it this way. He's reunited with his love, Balba. Right? Balba, Fly, you know, these guys
maybe
he's played with for a large part of his career.
Maybe he has to move on, you know.
That's
There's
true.
a reason why it didn't work in the past, you know. So it's time to move on.
Yeah, I can see that. That's true.
I mean, don't you see some of the problems that they have right now is a little bit similar to some of the problems they had before when they were on the Shopify?
What would you say are the problems that they mainly deal with?
Yeah, slow.
like-
They're playing really slow. They can only play when they win all their lanes. If they're
Yeah,
not
I
winning
can
all
see
their
that.
lanes, they tend to sit back and farm. I don't know whose fault is that. Is it? There used to be a time where Atizi was to be blamed for that, but when he was not on the team, it was still kind of similar, you know.
Yeah, so at that point, it's more of like an overall team ideology. Perhaps you would be most accurate if you blamed Mr. Balba,
Dire's bottom tower
as he's been the presence on the team
Yeah,
throughout
he's the
all the
scapegoat,
players.
right? The coach is to be blamed.
Yeah, I mean, he also is literally the only common factor
tower is under
across all these Shopify Rebellion iterations and EGs.
I mean,
and whatever.
Fly is also the common factor, right? He was also on both iterations, on EG and Shopify.
That's
I mean,
true.
he kind of got kicked from EG and then he came back, you know.
Yeah. They were like, Papa Fly, we need you back.
has fallen.
Please flex on the haters. And flex on the haters, he did.
Yeah, show us your
Now
crown,
I'm
my
gonna try
guy.
and flex on them on this Wisdom Shrine. What the hell was that? Jing just threw some rocks at where he thought a TA was. Not at all. Timado is so well protected.
180 ping. Ping diff.
That's true. That's tough.
Have you ever tried playing on Europe from Singapore? Do you
I
have
have,
like
I have.
180?
It's
or-
miserable. I'm at like just slightly above 200 for Europe.
Wait, how
It's kind of rough.
do you have more ping than
But I
me?
need to check actually. I need to check.
No, there's no way you have more ping than me.
Oh yeah, I'm tripping. I'm 175.
Yeah, you definitely have better ping than me. You should have.
Okay, this does not matter because Jing is neither in Singapore or Malaysia. He's in the Philippines.
But I
what
know
we're
in
aware.
the Philippines, if you use VPN, you can get it down to 170 to 180, depending on your location.
Yeah.
I'll give you that much. Okay?
170 ping, tiny gameplay. That's what we're gonna see here. Looks like a fight's about to break out. TP in from the Timbersaw, trying to focus down Saberlight. Hand of God keeps him safe. Still has the Ravage, lets it rip. Finds two, setting up for Timado to come in with big damage. VP thinking about sticking around, but now Timado, he's overextended. The disruption will keep him safe for now. No one is dead yet on Inner Circle because the Dazzle has kept everyone alive. All this damage being negated as Say, without the AA, there's nothing to stop him from healing everyone up to full. The only member who will die is the 170 ping Tiny. You might be able to get it lower with VPN, but at this point, it felt like they couldn't get anything else lower on VP.
Yeah, that was a very forced fight, you know. I don't know what was the exact reason that they lost the fight. It seemed like after the Ravage went out, it hit on what, 3 heroes? Ursa was
Yeah.
enraged, sure, but
Is under attack.
I don't know. Like it was a very full committal move. You know, TA came over, they had Desolator on him, so they wanted to all in. They popped all the heals to try and save the tide, but in the end, you know, they just couldn't really kill the heroes during the Ravage.
Ty's
Oh,
gonna
that
get caught
was
again.
a
Yules
huge
and
nuke.
Blubber, but that's not
Holy
gonna matter.
shit. That was like, what? That was like some 500-600 damage nuke from the heal of the Dazzle? Like, he took so
Yeah,
much
he
damage.
took 274 physical damage from the Shadow Wave. And that was in tandem with a really big Fury Swipe Stack punch from Ursa. So he took 338 damage from Ursa auto attack, 274 from Dazzle physical, and magic damage from the Remnant, all at the same time. That's gonna open up Roche for them. No Tidehunter, no Ravage, no problem. Surely VP, you need to try and prevent this from happening, but what can you do? Maybe it's a steal from Abed. He's gonna come in, try and snatch. Good try there. Can't blame him for going for that. Also can't blame him for not succeeding. That is absurdly hard to pull off.
It's still a bad look if the only thing you can be doing is trying to steal Roshan's, with your Amber. I mean,
that fight was just rough, right? Because they started out on the run, and then the Dazzle was just free casting spells in auto projection. I think that was kind of the main problem. No one was hitting the Dazzle.
Yeah, they were trying to kill the Ursa, and they were trying to also kill the team. Like, they're very tanky heroes. So target prioritization is something that they have to look at, Like, who are the heroes that we need to kill? Dazzle is probably, like I said, the best target actually to go on first,
Dire's top tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Like, the Tide is
Kinda
going to
feels like
poke the fight with the Chen and the SD, and I think it's up to Abed to find the Dazzle in the team fights.
Middle tower has been denied.
Easier said than done, though. I mean, even in that previous game where Inner Circle ended up losing, honestly, can't even fault Say for his positioning, right? That fight that they lost the whole game on was less about his positioning and more about the Tidehunters kind of letting loose a really rough Ravage. And then maybe a bit of miscommunication in the team. But overall, Say, I think he's really good at staying out of the fight when he doesn't need to be there and coming in with the crucial spells. All those rocks to interrupt the pulverizers, all the clutch like fatal bonds into upheavals when he could get those off. I feel like that's what makes his Dazzle gameplay so sublime as well. The Graves, the heal.
Dire are scanning. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Smoke coming in from Inner Circle. They're going to come from behind here. 3 men with a Storm, Tiny, and Dazzle looking for Timalo. He gets a blink away. Oh, they're trying to escape. Oh boy. Oh boy. Nope, they're not going to be able to get out. Timalo's going to die here. Like, no TP cancel for the second kill on the SD, so he's going to be fine.
Radiant's turret has been killed. Dire's middle tower, Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
And Inner Circle is going to claim a tower here. Tormentor is going to spawn. 1 minute. Seems like Inner Circle will have the advantage going in. They still have the Aegis for 2 minutes. Going to be trying to set up here. Storm is already moving top. Jing is going to TP down with a smoke. Ursa is ready to join the party. He has BKB freshly completed on 4-2-3. Like 10 seconds here. They're going to pop the smoke right now. They're going to bring in the team. They're going to try to run at the Tormentor. This is going to be a game-deciding fight here. Virtus.pro needs to come up with the goods here. They are the ones on the high ground here, setting up with a Ravage. Can they actually win this fight?
Here comes the Storm, big zip in, straight in onto Fly. That's a great target to start the fight off on, but the heals from the Greaves, he'll be fine. Niche, he doesn't have enough gas in the tank, he needs help. Dazzle trying to come through, gets the Grave off. Meanwhile, Lace trying to get the damage out onto Abed. Niche is going to be able to escape narrowly, still surviving thanks to all the heals, and they can't kill this Storm Spirit. He finally loses his Aegis. And Abed doing a good job kiting away at 4-2-3. Here's the Ravage, kills the Storm. And now, Inner Circle, they're on the run. This is the fight that Virtus.pro were waiting for. And even though Jing ends up killing off Hellscream, Lays will drop as well.
Another Grave.
Another Grave. Can he really get out of this?
Oh, starts coming back.
Also on the reset, his blink gets cancelled because of that side blades, but coming back in 4-2-3, ready to clean up the fight. Big burst heal is not enough. Timado is the king.
What a fight from both teams, you know. I was really close for VP. If the Storm didn't have Aegis, that would have actually been a very straightforward, you know, fight for them. The Storm jumps in, he uses the Aegis to kind of be the body, he gives vision. But after he dies the first time, Saberlight lands a very nicely timed barrage, and they actually just kill off the Storm pretty easily on his second life, you know. I think that's kind of the reason why the fight went so well for VP. And they're gonna claim they're gonna claim the Tormentor for it. So they're back in the game.
It was really nice, and Niche going for that Guardian Greaves build. That's one of the downsides, right? You don't get quite as much damage. But Timado, left alone up here in the top side, going to get caught, farming a wave he's not allowed to. And just like that, a kill back the other way brings the Storm back into things.
And what was he actually trying to do? I guess he misread the situation. He was trying to take one more wave before he decides to leave. And just got punished, you know, because the Storm already respawned, he TP'd in, so he was already ready to make another move there, you know, on the top, and that was a huge kill there onto Timado. And Inner Circle kind of
can't understand why Timado was there, right? Maybe he thought that, okay, the fight's already over, they're not going to come back up to this top lane because there's nothing for them to get, but Inner Circle punish him big time.
I gotta be wary of all this type of moves, right? Because it was a long extended fight. The death timers are not really that long, you know, it's still fairly early in the game. Gotta expect the enemy to come back to the area once they're alive.
And despite the successful Tormentor fight, it's still a 6k gold lead for Inner Circle off of the back of that TA kill. We're seeing now that it's not so straightforward for Inner Circle to start these fights. They have the Storm and the Tiny as their two main forms of catch, but Storm going in just by himself, it's not enough damage to kill these heroes anymore. Earlier on, we saw Fly basically out-heal everything Niche was doing on his first life. They even get the kill onto Fly too. Had to come back around for it, and big props to Abed. I think Abed is starting to be a problem for these heroes on Inner Circle. He's just kiting them, keeping them low, the constant chains out. Very obnoxious for, honestly, both the Timber and the Tiny to try and help their Storm out.
Storm's gonna have a Witchblade now. I think that's what was missing previously. He didn't have enough damage to kill them off when he was balling in, and now he's gonna have the damage.
Very important there. Just quick check. Any other major items? Daedalus now being worked on from Timado. His damage is already explosive, and it's gonna get even better. And Abed just finishes up that act, so his damage as well. I mean, at this point, it feels like these Inner Circle heroes need to be very wary of just being bursted down. They don't have those auras, that's the major difference right now. A Greaves is all they have. They don't have a Pipe, they don't have a Crimson.
But they have a Dazzle. I think the Dazzle has been doing a wonderful job. Still 0 and 0. 0 deaths, you know, for the Dazzle. Playing an exceptional game so far. Another fight gonna happen. Jink going to go in, 2-man stun.
That is huge. Hellscream still gets the disruption off, but he is in big trouble. Able to retreat up to the high ground, 4-2-3 on his back, and will swipe him down. Meanwhile, Jing saved by the Grave for now. Say again, bailing him out. The Grave still can't finish the job. Even the Ravage, finally they'll get the Tiny. But the rest of the team of Inner Circle still looking pretty healthy. They need to watch themselves though. No one's on this TA, and now they're turning their sights towards the Timbersaw. Say still in a really good position to keep pumping the heals out. There's the silence onto the Timber. He's completely fine. Look at the discipline from this Dazzle. He knows who he has to keep his eyes on. And that's the Storm Spirit on the front lines. Knows that the Timber will be able to escape this one. Inner Circle. Both these healing supports between Fly and Say, they are just doing an excellent job supporting their team.
Yeah, having the dagger on the Dazzle actually very important. He knows that he can't get near the team fight because of the Ravage, so he buys the dagger as his first item, you know. Not a build that you see very often on Dazzle, but it's working out wonders for him, you know. Getting a lot of really clutch kills and Graves on his team, and making sure that they're not really, you know, losing heroes easily in the team. But you have to commit a lot of time to kill off one hero, and that's what the Storm or Ursa needs to turn the fight around.
starting to run into maybe some damage issues here on inner circle. 4-2-3, he should be fine to walk this one off. Had a dazzle around the corner to help him out, worst case scenario, and 10 seconds left on that BKB. Things are gonna start to get annoying here for Virtus.pro. Still can't reach that dazzle. Here's the setup. Saberlight's caught. Disruption a bit too far away. Hellscream will still try and look for it. Here's the chase in from Niche. Disruption finally comes out. It is not at all. Saberlight will get cut down. A little bit questionable there from the Shadow Demon. Waited too long to throw out that spell, and he will lose his life as well. Run down by the side of Inner Circle. And this time it's Jing and Sei that get the upper hand. They'll head straight into the pit and get themselves in Aegis.
Oh boy, that was such a big mistake there. A lot of confusion whether he should have thrown the disruption early, but then it ends up throwing in a very, very bad timing, right? Once the force staff came out from Chen to push the tide back, he didn't need the disrupt at all. The disrupt just merely set up the kill for the enemy team, you know. So Hellscream with a very, very huge misplay there, just giving up Roshan to the enemy team.
Yeah, although you do have to sort of ask yourself whether it was Saberlight who was out of position at first, right? He was trying to get that power rune, but just not really respecting the fact that all the Inner Circle heroes were disappearing off the map. Smoke breaks. Abed managing to dodge them thanks to the vision of the trap. He'll just completely juke to the other side. Looking perhaps for Hellscream instead. A deep zip in from Niche. All VP can do now is try and split the map and try and get these solo pickoffs. But look at the arrows on the map. Inner Circle just swarming all over, trying to sandwich. The TP retreat is clean. They extract Fly and they extract Tomato. Not the creeps though, but still, small price to pay. I was just gonna say, I'd love to see Inner Circle get a gem to start clearing out these bits of vision and instantly Sei buys it. I'm starting to become a really big fan of this guy and his position, like position 5 gameplay. It's standing out big time. A lot of the warding that has won Inner Circle these engagements and gotten them the advantage, I think that's all him, to be honest. They found Jing. Sei. Gonna try for a save. Mules is gonna cancel. Inner Circle trying to come in for a fight though. They don't want to give up anything for free. 4-2-3 thinking about chasing, but doesn't want to overextend. One kill already given and Rage now used. Inner Circle making the call to retreat.
Was close to losing even more, yeah. So good disengage by Inner Circle. For one, it looked like it could be dangerous when the Ursa came in, you know, he tried to help the Tiny, but backed off right at the right moment. So nothing extra happening, just a singular Tiny death there. It is still 3 minutes on the clock for Niche, so they should still be able to make use of this once Jing is alive again.
Haven't really been able to connect over to where their Storm is playing just yet, right? He's been just kind of farming around down in this bot lane, knowing maybe that none of the heroes would come through and get him. Big circle being drawn. They spot out the members of Inner Circle around this area thanks to the traps that are not cleared out just yet. Oh, this game's tense, man. I mean, it's all about survival and you can really feel it. Nice quick TP in, Remnant out. Tomato's also been doing a great job at dodging his opponents when he doesn't want to fight.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
At Inner Circle, they've had a much better time at killing off Hellscream, right? These backup supports as well on both sides. The Storm, the Timber, able to just fly in and eliminate them. Some big avalanche initiations from Jing as well, despite being on ping. That can be reduced by VPN, by the way. Just in case you're watching as a Filipino and you're wondering how you want to play the EU servers, Winter has the tech advice for you.
Not gonna let that go anymore, yeah, since I said that to you.
I mean, it's new and exciting information about developments never before seen. If you're... I mean, I don't know about you, but if I'm a Filipino player and I need to play Southeast Asia in the current state of things, I want to get out too. I get it.
Especially if you're a support player. Yeah? The games has never been this bad, yeah. I gotta say. And meanwhile, this is a big
we always joke about. Okay.
Okay, no, never mind. I'm joking.
Wait, who's baiting who? Jing is dead. Okay.
Yeah, you were saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say, at least, you know, for many of the Singaporeans and Malaysians, we can speak Chinese. So in that sense, even if the Chinese, the perfect world refugees are trying to communicate, we can understand. But unfortunately, I don't think they understand most of what the Filipino players are saying. So it's just a big like communication gap, right? Like how are you even supposed to play?
A duck communicating with a chicken, you know, have you heard that?
Yeah. It's a classic Chinese saying, right? I mean, I'm Cantonese. That's a Cantonese saying. 雞同鴨講.
Nothing ever gets done, you know, when the chicken is talking to the duck.
True. Sometimes the chicken and the duck come together and cast Dota 2. Specifically, Inner Circle and Virtus.pro Game 3. But I digress.
My grandma always uses that saying when she's talking to my domestic helper, you know, because she can't understand anything my grandma is saying.
Right. Understandable. Okay, or at least in this case, not understandable on both sides. Unfortunate, if anything. I mean, Virtus.pro, they are still very much in this game. Don't let the 5k gold lead and the kill score fool you. They have a lot of damage coming out from Tomato, and that's only buffed up by this Tidehunter. Abed's also scaling up really nicely. You kind of get the feeling that even though Inner Circle, they've taken a few good fights, they are very susceptible to just being picked off on the map like this. Here's another Grave. He's trying to look for it, but he doesn't have the range on the Dazzle, and this time round, Say will get caught. A bit too far off for him. Laze was out of his range, and they'll make it a double.
Yeah, this is what we needed to see from Virtus.pro. Taking the initiative, looking for kills, getting into the smoke, and taking control of the game.
What do you think Inner Circle are waiting for?
I don't know. I think they have everything they need. Like the BKB on Timber is kind of nice, but not exactly important, you know. I think you just need to ball up together and, you know, not be too split on the map. Like the moment you're split on the map, there's always a chance you get caught out by this Amber with Aghanims.
Yeah. They're not really doing the thing where they group up just yet, though. They are, like you mentioned, splitting on the map, maybe just waiting for their Timbersaw to come back alive. I was gonna say, it seems like the Timber has started to scale pretty nicely, but even now, at this point in the game, Tomato is ripping him to shreds in the right opportunities. Very, very scary TA. Serrated Shift, Shard complete, looking at that, finishing the full Daedalus, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, completed Hurricane Pike as well, so... Very, very close to the top of the net worth, neck in neck with the Ursa. But one of these heroes is a lot easier to execute than the other, right? The Ursa kind of has the risk of being kited around. The TA can always strike from range and keep her distance. It's a lot easier to operate.
Things are definitely really tense right now for both teams. One wrong move and the game could just be over for either side. The Inner Circle cannot afford for another misplay anymore. Like Roshan is going to be spawning. They have the TA on the VP side, so they're gonna know the exact time on the Rosh spawn. So I think they're gonna have an advantage here with the Rosh coming up. It's gonna be a night Rosh, so Rosh is gonna be on the top side, you know, further benefiting the VP side.
This draft from VP, really, really well put together, and I guess it ticks a few boxes because not only can it play fast early game, it doesn't really get outscaled, right? You're thinking about maybe late game Storm, late game Timber could get scary, but the Ember and the TA are major factors as well. It's gonna be a while before they start to get eclipsed. Big fight. In the mid lane, Saberlight's gonna spot a few. Gets Atos up first, Niche thinking about committing, but doesn't really want to throw his body into the mix just yet. There's a Hex on this Tide and they need to be wary of that. Just the easy Greaves walk away. Both teams giving each other love taps there.
Rosh is gonna spawn in 10 seconds here. VP is gonna know. So Inner Circle, they have to be on point to scout the Rosh out. And they have to figure out what they need to do, which angle of attack they have to use, you know. They don't really have a smoke anymore for some time. So they're gonna have to just rely on at least being in the right position to delay it. I think ideally they can delay until the Timber gets BKB. He needs, I think, another 1 minute, 1.5 minutes to get the BKB. Yeah, one more wave, he's gonna get it.
You think it's go time then for Inner Circle? Just run at them and try your best to take a fight, because still could be scary if you're running up to high ground vision, the traps are down, you know. You get hit by a 2-3 man Ravage, could be over.
Definitely still very scary position for both sides here. Nobody really wants to be the first one to make the first move. I think it's probably better for VP to just find a counter initiation of some sort as well. If the Storm jumps in, you just counter initiate. Because if you initiate with a Tide and TA and you don't find a Dazzle, that also is a huge problem here. You can only start the fight if you see where the Dazzle is in the team fight. Whether he can actually get the Grave off, you know. That's going to be a very, very important factor in a team fight.
Yeah. I think as the game gets later and later, the Dazzle becomes easier to deal with as well, right? Because you can actually divert a lot more resources to hunting him down. We already see that the Ember frequently following the Nauto projection link to identify the main Dazzle and put a lot of damage onto him. Pretty impossible to fight around this pit though, with all the traps and everything. Like, yes, you have a gem, but if you stand in the open area and try and clear them out, you could get caught and killed with a Hex.
Now, this is really good for VP. They have a creep pushing out bot wave with the Chen, so they're putting a lot of pressure here, and there's 2 catapult wave. The Storm has to ball back to defend. This is going to give them an advantage. VP is going to initiate here with Storm out of position.
Jing is going to get caught again. A tiny kill. You're using the trap to find the Dazzle. They got Say on the back lines. He has to grave himself as Inner Circle in a bad spot. Buyback there from Jing. Ember in trouble. Still saved by the disruption. He'll get out of trouble. And VP, all they need to do is reset this fight. They've already wasted a buyback, wasted the BKBs. It's a good look. They push the side of Inner Circle out of here, and I mean, this Roche gonna get really difficult for them to contest at this point.
Yeah, that is the problem with the Chen pressure, right? They actually cannot relinquish their position there. I think the Storm wasn't really allowed to just ball and clear the creep wave at bottom. Like, you can only do it if you have travel on someone, or you have like X mark, or you have a hero like Ember. You know, you're not supposed to leave the position on the Roshan if you don't have heroes like this. You know, you just have to accept the losses there and take some damage on the tower. And now they're forced to use their buybacks, and this is getting very worrisome for the Inner Circle side. You know, they were in control, and now it's anyone's game. BP have managed to successfully wrestle the game over. They are able to delay the game to a point of time where right now the Tide, with his Hex, with his Ravage, and the Aghanim's, he's a very, very big threat in the team fight. Your teamer doesn't feel like he can actually provide the same sort of impact in the team fights.
That's so crazy to say, because I think in any other general sense, you would think the Timber is probably going to outscale this Tide, right? Tide may turn into nothing but a Ravage bot, but Saberlight finding his mark this game. Again, Virtus.pro with a bit of a slower start, but able to still hang on to this game. And it's Timado now, one of the scariest heroes, committing in with the Enrage. 4-2-3, what are you doing there? A lone bear under the sun, BKB to try and bail him out. Jing's coming through with an avalanche, but Jing might just be dead. You gotta grave him. Comes out in time, but Jing's not gonna survive this fight. Trying for the burst heal. Not gonna be enough, so there is a 4v5 situation. Niche still trying to do what he can. Big Hex onto a few. The Ravage is there, but no one to follow up with the damage. Abed's trying to do what he can. Timado in trouble. Hurricane Pike up. They're kiting away from the Ursa. And 4-2-3 still graved at the very last moment. Say will save him, but they've lost their Timbersaw, and now they'll lose 4-2-3 as well. Inner Circle, it has all fallen apart. Virtus.pro with the amazing kiting, and they'll find the Dazzle yet again. Where you going, you pesky little bug? We don't even want you. You're not even important enough. Straight into the pit they go. Objective Gaming and Virtus.pro, they have a Division 2 to remain in.
Now that was a very, very good realization that they had the upper hand. All they needed to do is just force and make Inner Circle panic, right? I think the Ursa just blinking in there using his Enrage was a pretty bad decision. I think they needed to just let the Storm. I think the Storm should have just go in and scout. He should be the one running in first because he is a Storm. Instead of the Ursa, you know, the moment the Ursa blinks in to check, he's already putting himself in a compromising position where he he cannot get out, and they were forced to kind of save him and take a very, very bad fight, you know. So Inner Circle getting punished there at the Roshan.
Yeah, really, really big plays from Tomato as well. I think he used all his spells to perfection. Shard placements exactly where the dazzle is.
Top barracks has fallen.
Nothing much he can do there, just spotted out by the Ember, who scaled up damage-wise at this point. Had a refresher for that fight, as our observer pointed out earlier. Now, a big 9k gold lead. Swinging back the way of VP. A lot more work to be done for this Virtus.pro squad if they want to stand up to the rest of the big dogs, but for now, it's Inner Circle, the ones in front of them, stopping them, potentially. Sending them to an early exit from this Division 2. But they're not willing to accept that. They're not willing to go down without a fight. A sleepy Game 1 into a slightly sharper Game 2. And now, this feels like VP, even with some mistakes, at where they want to be, right? You got Tomato on that nice scaling carry. He's making these late game decisions. You start to see shades of that Tomato that looked like one of the best carries in the world back in his time at TSM. That was 2023, 3 years ago at this point.
Courier has been killed.
He's the man who can get the job done here for Virtus.pro. Chen scaling up nicely as well. AC being looked at for him, so even more auras to work with. Anish is looking at that Aghanims. Maybe that'll be the big difference maker. A mini Ravage of his own for Inner Circle to dump the damage in. Inner Circle just need to be the ones to start the fight. It feels like so many times they're being chased down and caught out. But if they're the ones jumping in first, if they find their targets, get onto these supports, they can make the game very uncomfortable for Virtus.pro.
And Niche actually went on a Shadow Demon the last fight. Like, he went on him alone, he got kited. Like, as soon as the disruption came out, he couldn't kill him, you know. And he needs the Tiny to actually just follow up with him. Like, two of them have to go in together. Once the SD dies, I think the fights are gonna be way easier for them.
It's so tough, right? Because I feel like these past few fights, Jinx just being caught out on the front lines. Not really allowed to have more than 1 or 2 sets of spells. And honestly, good recognition from Virtus.pro. They understand that it's so uncomfortable for Sei to use that Grave on the Tiny, because that means he doesn't have it available for any of the cores. So even if you Grave the Tiny, sure, you save him for 3 more seconds, but he's unlikely to get out of that situation alive anyway. And most you get 1 more toss, and then suddenly your Grave is on cooldown, they can turn towards the cores, and it's really troublesome then.
Circle probably should just try to wait out this Aegis. VP has 1 more minute on the Aegis here, and with the AD rune, they are going to want to use this Aegis right now. Inner Circle, they have to try to buy time. 1 minute.
There's the AD rune. Don't forget to swap your Hurricane Pike back in, Tomato. You're gonna need that. Here comes the initiation. Abyssal onto Tomato. They get the Hex out, but he gets his BKB. He's fine. Inner Circle still trying to jump the back lines. Big Vortex onto both supports. But the problem is they don't have the damage. Look at this Ember playing pinball in between all their heroes, forcing them back to base. Abed is not allowing anyone to join the fight, while Lace just being gunned down. You've lost your Tiny, you've lost your Timber, and now Sei will be caught as well. Abed, he wants no part of going back to the Philippines. Here comes the buyback. Big Ravage though, onto 2. No more BKBs. Niche is gone. That is your Storm Spirit out of the equation, and 4-2-3 to fall as well. What a game from Virtus.pro, and what nice late game team fighting. Buybacks on a few, but it's a 3v4 at best. The only member they managed to kill is that Chen. And dude, Abed just in the back lines. My goodness. The amount of damage that he was dealing, just forcing everyone out of the fight. They couldn't connect with the Storm on the front.
They just couldn't really finish off the backliners, you know, the SD especially. Killing the Chen is just not enough, you know, in the team fights. This is the last one, the last attempt. 4-2-3 going in. He's gonna get hexed up.
It's an easy disruption for Hellscream. doesn't even
Nice
need to think
damage.
twice about it, and 423 doesn't have the damage to put out onto Timado. He'll die in his own enrage, Say will drop, and GG is called. Despite a shaky start, Abed will lead the Virtus.pro boys to survival here in DreamLeague Division 2.
Yeah, they live to play another day. Obviously, job is not done yet. They have to keep moving in this direction, finding out the problems, trying to improve on the problems. Against the better teams in the playoffs, they have to play even better than this. Like today they survive, but tomorrow they're gonna have to keep finding ways of improving, keep finding ways to play better.
Yeah, overall, even though it's a sigh of relief for Virtus.pro fans, definitely a bit more to be expected, right? After they were able to easily 2-0 Inner Circle the previous series, it seems like Inner Circle learned a thing or two, and it's unfortunate that we do have to say goodbye to them, as they will be the second team, along with Team Silk, eliminated in the group stage of Division 2 Season 3. But that's how competition goes. The competition is tight, and we only have 6 teams remaining, battling it out. It's Aurora Gaming, the front runners, along with One Win, Nigma Galaxy, Zero Tenacity, Avalus, and Virtus.pro, now surviving to fight another day. And that day is actually the day after, because tomorrow we're going to keep things slow. We're going to have Aurora Gaming versus Zero Tenacity. So we're starting out with the upper bracket. That will be back here on this stream, so you don't want to miss it. That match is going to start around this time, so around 10 minutes from now, but 24 hours later. So you can come back. I'm sure there's a lot more Dota 2 to watch at the moment though, so you're not going to miss a thing. That is it for our one tiebreaker. But thank you so much for continuing to tune in to Division 2, and we'll see you guys for more playoffs action tomorrow.
What will they do when the people are stepping out of line? Oh, what will they do when the people are stepping out of line? Oh, stepping out of line. I wanna know when they're stepping out of line. Turned on the dime when I saw you walking by. Something about you